All right. I mean, I guess we should start with the Martha's Vineyard thing. I don't care about this video. Okay. As you guys know, I covered this already, and there's a video of it already on my YouTube page if you want more details. But Greg Abbott has been shipping migrants, asylum seekers, migrants in general, to blue states for a while now. He's been busing them. On top of that, you know, Ron DeSantis, who very famously and very classically loves getting in on like a good media, like a good rowdy media cycle by making a name for himself all the time, and he's done this time and time again, has decided to join in on the fun where he took some 50 Venezuelan migrants from Texas and flew them out to Martha's Vineyard. Now, Martha's Vineyard is a fucking island. It's not like, it doesn't have the capabilities of like dealing with a steady flow of migrants, obviously. But they could do that if they were, told ahead of time, which of course Ron DeSantis didn't do that because his goal was not to actually he did not have the best interest of the migrants at heart. He just wanted to use them as a political pawn. Okay. So that's precisely what they did. Yeah, the permanent population of like 15K people there, it's tiny. Exactly. And they're using taxpayer dollars too to be able to do this, which is really fucked up. Wildly funny that DeSantis flew migrants to Martha's Vineyard to serve as a paragon of liberal elite hypocrisy, but did not consider that almost no community would be as capable and inclined to take great care of their migrants than publicize the hell out of their own virtuousness. This is not a hit at the Martha's Vineyard residents. I'm very grateful for what they're doing. This is just a fact. Yeah, exactly. So there were a couple fucking L's there. The number one L was that, rich liberals love fucking doing shit like this. They love looking good. They love looking like they're better people than Republicans. And also on top of that, not everyone is a fucking piece of shit, Ron. So now Ron DeSantis looks like a fucking asshole. Because he is an asshole. And so does Greg Abbott. So it's like kind of blowing up in his fucking face. Let's take a look, though. This is what the White House said. Oh, I hope he goes to jail for
fired
this.
Back at the Republican governors of Florida and Texas, accusing them of playing politics with human beings after they sent buses and planes full of migrants to Massachusetts and Washington, D.C. Senior White House correspondent...
It looks good to Republicans, no? No, it doesn't. Which is why they're desperately trying to cut... Okay, you know what I'm watching right now? I'm watching Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott doing human trafficking children, okay? Which is illegal for those of you who don't know. For just a fuck you and a haha, look at this politics thing. And I'm watching it blow up in their fucking faces because the migrants are actually getting taken care of by the blue states. Because they're using it partially because they're like nicer and also partially because they want the good PR as well. So it's blowing up in their fucking faces, which is why they're trying to desperately turn this into something it's not. That's why they sent in Fox News reporters to Kamala Harris's house, okay? That's why they sent Fox News reporters to Kamala Harris's house and not immigration lawyers. The only people that were informed about this shipment, we're talking about migrants, like human beings, like they're fucking baggage, right? But these guys sent Venezuelan migrants under false pretenses to different fucking states, telling them that there's housing and adequate, jobs and shit available, specifically lying to them, okay? And there are children involved in it as well. And they expected people to turn them away, I guess, or not be able to deal with it. And they did it in the worst possible way as well. They didn't inform a single fucking state authority. They didn't tell anyone that these migrants were coming, and they didn't send them to an appropriate place that could house them. They sent them to Kamala Harris's house, okay? Or they sent them to an open lot. And these guys can't even speak fucking English. They are legally within their rights to seek asylum, but they just got dumped in the middle of nowhere Okay? They basically invented a fake caravan, right? And they did this with taxpayer dollars, which is fucking ridiculous, right? So, and make no mistake, I mean, they only informed Fox News reporters that this was happening. They didn't tell anyone to help out the processing of all these people. They didn't inform the state authorities so there was like adequate shelter readily available. And guess what? It didn't fucking work because they still found a way. People in Martha's Vineyard still immediately were like, okay, we'll figure it out. And they are providing housing for these people. They're providing, methods of doing their paperwork. Like, they're giving them food. And he fucking starved them out, too. That was another thing. Not to mention lying about their addresses on the immigration papers. Shouldn't that be fucking illegal, too? Yeah, that's another thing. So it is insanely illegal. It's kidnapping. It's human trafficking. You know, it's just straight up illegal. But as I talked about yesterday, like, people don't really care about it because it's happening to migrants. And Americans do not have the capacity to understand that migrants are human fucking beings. But here is the immigration attorney, Rachel Self, at St. Anthony's Church in Martha's Vineyard. And after interviewing the Venezuelan migrants about how they got here, she calls the entire ordeal kidnapping.
Especially simple map of Martha's Vineyard and the United States, and a brief brochure containing snippets from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts website and instructions to change their address with USCIS when they relocated. This is especially troubling as anyone with even the most basic understanding of the immigration proceedings knows that USCIS was not the agency with whom the migrants would have to record their addresses and has nothing to do with their cases in any way. It is
I don't know about trafficking, but definitely kidnapping. Bro, it is 100% trafficking. What the fuck do you mean?
Clear that this was an intentional attempt to ensure that these migrants were removed in absentia when they failed to change their address with the proper agency. This was a purposeful derailment designed to prevent people from complying with federal immigration. Especially simple map of Martha's Vineyard.
It's so bad that the founder of the Venezuelan group in Orlando is now against Marco, a 180 flip. At a press conference in Orlando condemning DeSantis' treatment of migrants, William Diaz, founder of Casa de Venezuela, shows this picture he took with Marco Rubio in the past and says Rubio has now abandoned the Venezuelan community. Yeah, Florida. Additionally, ironic that Ron DeSantis did this, and he fucking called it and said that, there are greener pastures in Massachusetts and other places for you, implying that there is no green pasture in fucking Florida, which is literally like against the state building project of Florida. Florida has always been a safe haven for every fucking anti-communist migrant, dude. What do you mean? You called your fucking state dog shit, which is hilarious. I agree. Okay. And two, you did this in the state that has the most fucking anti-communist Cuban and Venezuelan migrant population. You fucking idiot. You're not in Alabama. You do this from Alabama, then, maybe the Purdue Chicken Factory is going to get mad at you because you took away their steady, fresh pool of labor, right? But overall, the people of Alabama are going to be like, yeah, that's right. Whatever. Roll Tide, baby. You did this from the heart of people that literally, the people that vote for you are people that look like that have that same fucking background, you idiot. I mean, I cannot comprehend a dumber fucking decision here. It is, no matter how Fox News tries to flip this and act like, and remember, we watched it yesterday, okay? Fox News was there on site, and they were like, why is there no immigration lawyers here? Oh, and they came to Kamala Harris's house. Ha, ha, ha. And it's like, dude, these are human beings that you're fucking with. That is insanely cruel. That is insanely fucked up. And you personally made it so that it was as difficult as possible for them to actually make this transition. You kidnap people and you ship them. You traffic them under false pretenses to a different fucking state. And now you're trying to make it seem like this was the Democrats' fault. Except it's your fucking fault through and through. And the Democrats are actually picking up the fucking slack here. And not only that, But it's, again, I think that this is another opportunity for the this is another situation where the Republicans overextended. Okay, just like with the abortion thing. When Republicans act out on their genuine policy attitudes, their genuine policy provisions, when they act out on their cruel and inhumane desires, most Americans are going to go, that's kind of wild that you're doing that. It is, of course, hilariously unchristian-like, right? Obviously. So it is deeply, deeply hypocritical from that front, too. But it's also, from an optics point of view, because that's all motherfuckers care about, from an optics point of view, it's also hilariously bad. Most people in general see themselves as empathetic, right? Like, if there was someone hungry, they would want to feed them. Yes.
The planes. They were told they arrived last night, make it clear that they were lied to again.
My call was this was going to fucking backfire, and a lot of you in the chat yesterday said, no shot, no shot. That's not true. You're wrong. You're naive. No, motherfucker, I'm not naive. I'm pretty realistic about this sort of stuff. They didn't take like rugged, criminal-looking people. They took literally anti-communist refugees escaping the treacherous, scary Maduro regime, okay? That makes up a pretty significant proportion of the fucking DeSantis right-wing voter base, okay? There's babies involved. There's little fucking children looking cute. They put microphones in their fucking faces. Of course that's going to look bad. It goes against the propaganda the Republicans cut nonstop. You can't empathize with these people. You can never show them in a positive light. You can never show their humanity. And they fucking failed. They did show their humanity.
Again and again. And fraudulently induced to board.
The fuck?
Arrived last
Twitter
night,
video,
make it
man.
clear that they were lied to again and again, and fraudulently induced to board the planes. They were told there was a surprise present for them, and that there would be jobs and housing awaiting for them when they...
Your point yesterday that Fox News viewers have humanity was wrong? No, man. Every American fucking fancies themselves to be a good person at the end of the day. And there are certain realities that they see right in front of their eyes where it's like it's almost impossible for them to not recognize this. When you have children coming off that bus, when you don't have like fucking rugged-looking, scary-looking black guys from Haiti, for example, right? And they're wearing like fake Imperial Armani shirts or whatever, which is what you normally get from agitprop, right-wing agitprop. On Tucker Carlson's broadcast usually, when you actually have like little kids in Marvel pajamas saying like, yay, I'm here. I thought that, we were going to have a better future here. All of a sudden, no fucking psychopath, unless they're like severely white supremacist, okay? And a lot of white supremacist Americans are not like Klan level white supremacists. You don't understand that, okay? They're going to look at that and go, well, this seems kind of fucked up a little bit, okay? Also, it's really funny that people were writing this off as ultra leftos expressing skepticism that kind of polarized black and white morality and misunderstanding of pathos peak rad-lib behavior. Yeah, people fail to comprehend, though, that like even racist motherfuckers don't want to be called racist. They understand that white supremacy and racism is wrong. They might be socially conditioned into believing in it. Okay? And there are plenty of people who are still going to say, nah, it's a good thing that they did that, okay? I'm telling you, I know that. I get it. I get it. There are plenty of people probably in your life that is like currently working extra hard to do mental gymnastics to make sure that this move actually looks good and looks adequate, right? Like I'm sure that is a thing that's happening. But we're talking about the broad majority of Republicans, right? There are more people than just like your mom and dad that is brain broken by fucking watching Fox News every goddamn night. And to a broad majority of people, this is going to look like a bunch of people were tricked, okay? And now the Democrats are actually taking care of them. These liberal elites are actually taking care of them. But more importantly, okay? Oh, sorry, I'm just like having a fucking hard time today with my brain. All right, let's just continue.
They arrived. This was obviously a sadistic lie. Not only did those responsible for this stunt know that there was no housing and no employment awaiting the migrants, they also very intentionally chose not to call ahead to any single office authority on Martha's Vineyard so that even the most basic human needs arrangements could be made, ensuring that no help awaited the migrants at all was the entire point. They were provided with a cartoonishly simple map of Martha's Vineyard and the United States and a brief brochure containing snippets from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts website and instructions to change their address with USCIS when they relocated. This is especially troubling as anyone with even the most basic understanding of the immigration proceedings knows that USCIS was not the agency with whom the migrants would have to record their addresses and has nothing to do with their case.
They made it purposely difficult for them to like actually go through the proper protocols. It's like additionally disgusting. You know what I mean? Okay, wait. Peggy plays Valorant? Shut the fuck up.
In any way. It is clear that this was an intentional attempt to ensure that these migrants were removed in absentia when they failed to change their address with the proper agency. This was a purposeful derailment designed to prevent people from complying with federal immigration policies. This is problematic because this—
Stop calling him Peggy. He don't know you like that. No, literally, he does. He do know me like that. Like, quite literally, actually.
State should not be interfering with federal immigration policy. Before they boarded the planes, the migrants were processed by agents of the Department of Homeland Security, who listed falsified addresses on the migrants' paperwork. Agents apparently chose random homeless shelters all across the country, from Washington to Florida, to list the migrants' mailing addresses, even when told by the migrants that they had no address in the U.S. According to the paperwork provided to them, the migrants are required to check in with ICE office nearest to the fake address chosen for them by DHS or be permanently removed from the United States, with some required to check in as early as this coming Monday. It could not be clearer that this is an attempt to ensure that these people are ordered removed, even as they try as hard as they can to comply with the instructions provided to them. There is no other reason to list as someone's mailing address a homeless shelter in Tacoma, Washington, when they ship him to Massachusetts. It is sickeningly cruel, throwing obstacles in the way of people fleeing violence and oppression, some of whom walked through 10 countries in the hopes of finding safety. It is shameful and inhuman. Many of these victims were deprived of medical care despite clear existing injuries. These are human beings.
They didn't give them food, bro. They fucking starved them out. Like, they reached new levels of mania, man. New levels of cruelty, I swear to God.
Beings who were deprived of basic human rights. To the people who find themselves, these wonderful people who find themselves plane wrecked on our island, I have a message for all of them. You are not alone. We have your backs. We are proud to be here for you. And we've got you. If the intention of those who perpetrated this horrendous act was to create a crisis, you have failed. Their demeanor is kind, their demeanor is grateful, and their demeanor is just that they want to be doing everything right. Their biggest concern today is that many of them have dates to appear in San Antonio Monday morning, Tacoma.
Yeah. Like, that's the worst part about this is that, like, I mean, obviously, like, shipping them off to a totally random area is, like, fucked up in and of itself. But they did it in such a way that they can't even make their own fucking court dates. They purposely misfiled their details so that, like, the people that they shipped off from Texas, not even Florida, by the way, Ron DeSantis took 50 Venezuelan migrants from Texas and shipped them to Martha's Vineyard, flew them out to Martha's Vineyard, and purposely misfiled their shit so that they couldn't even figure out when their next court date is and make it to their next court date. Because remember, it's like 98% that actually make it to their court dates. 98% of asylum seekers make it to their fucking court date. Remember how Donald Trump used to say, oh, they don't do it. They don't do it. They don't come back to their court dates, folks. And if they do, and then he changed it because people were like, well, guess what? That's actually not true. Everyone actually appears on their fucking court dates because it's a legal process, it's a legal proceeding, and they want to, like, actually be in the country, okay? Then he started saying, well, the ones that do are stupid. Yeah. He said they're not smart if they're coming back to their court dates. And that's what this is. Like, they're literally purposely trying to fuck up the numbers because the numbers already do not suit their agenda. Yeah, the migrants weren't even from Florida, by the way. Yes, Ron DeSantis took migrants from San Antonio, from Texas, and shipped them to Martha's Vineyard. And he paid $12 million to do so. $12 million of Florida state funds to fucking fly Venezuelans, misfile their fucking claims, and ship them with no fucking paperwork and no take ahead of time, no information ahead of time to the proper authorities. Ship them to Martha's Vineyard on purpose. If there was a fucking God, Ron DeSantis would be fucking struck down right now. If there was an adequate government, a real government that actually does government shit, Ron DeSantis would be in jail right now. He'd be in the court proceedings would have started already.
Washington, Monday morning. Washington, D.C., Monday morning. You tell me how that's possible.
We will be exploring all civil and criminal legal options to hold the perpetrators accountable and to prevent this injustice from repeating itself.
It's just like, I don't even know what to say. Like, but at least like some of the Venezuelan voters, which are right-wing voters overall, have pushed back on Ron DeSantis. But here, this specific segment of the government money that was seemingly spent making it reality 2 months later could use a lot more scrutiny. Anyway, when the GOPers do depraved stuff, it's worth looking for the Fox host who suggested it. This is Tucker Carlson on July 26th.
It's a natural. Joe Biden took 70% of the vote on that small Massachusetts island. Over the past 4 years, according to FEC data, 92% of all donations from its biggest town, Edgartown, Massachusetts, went to the Democratic Party. So you probably imagine Edgartown is pretty diverse. I mean, the Obamas lived on the island, right? No. In fact, we checked. At last count, Edgartown is 95.7% white. What century is this? As of 2019, only 3% of all people, all residents in Edgartown, were born outside of this country. So do the math. That's 17 people total. That's effectively zero diversity, which means zero strength. They are begging for more diversity. Why not send migrants there in huge numbers? Let's start with 300,000 and move up from there. As the island gets stronger, more. Has got to be more.
And now more stuff like this is going to come out. The Daily Beast reports a migrant claims to have been paid $200 cash by a mysterious woman named Perla to recruit people from a Texas migrant resource center to board a plane to Martha's Vineyard. What DeSantis and the others involved in this scheme did was unconscionable. It makes me sick. Yeah. How do you spend $12 million shipping human beings across the country without setting aside at least 5 to avoid the top of the hour ad break? Fuck you. God damn it, dude. Oh, no. Okay. Well, fuck yourself. Okay. Absolutely fuck yourself. At the top of the hour, there's a 6-second ad break. If you no longer want to see those fucking ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. By connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, you get 1 free Prime subscription a month. God damn it, dude. Holy fuck. Twitch Prime is free. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. But Twitch Prime is free as long as you connect your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get 1 free Prime subscription a month. Platinum Shire, thank you for the 5 tier 1 gift subs. Here's the 1 minute ad break now. It was 600K, not 12 mil. Okay, so the $12 million fund is the overall fund, and they used 600,000 so far. Were the people that put the fake addresses with the federal Homeland Security and Florida officials? We don't know yet. Yeah, he has an overall $12 million fund. Here it is.
But what we found is we haven't seen any major movements of people into Florida like big caravans. The only caravans we saw were people that had H-2A visas. Well, those are obviously legal workers. So we've interdicted people on a onesie, twosie basis, and we said, okay, so we've had people in Texas for months trying to figure out how are these people getting into Florida. What?
Dog, you literally fucking went into Texas because you were so desperate. You were so fucking desperate to get in on the action that you couldn't even fucking figure out migrants coming into Florida. So you went into Texas to own the Venezuelan refugees there. That's another crazy component of this. Like, they're not even fucking getting people from Florida. He like went in. He went into Texas to look for new people that he could ship off.
What's the movement? And the reality is 40% of them say they want to go to Florida. And so that's a lot. I mean, when you talk about all those people, but the problem is.
Yeah, I wonder why 40% of the Venezuelan migrants in Texas want to go to Florida. I wonder if, let me think. I wonder if like immediate family members that also have taken advantage of the visa allowances and the temporary protected status that they have until 2024, and immediate family members that live in your fucking state that literally vote for you, dickhead. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. Perhaps. They call the city of Doral in Miami-Dade County Doral, Zuela, because of the huge Venezuelan population here. Ron won't answer questions, so we looked ourselves. Florida paid Vertol Systems $615,000 on September 8th out of the $12 million deportation fund. So Floridians paid $12,300 for each refugee DeSantis trafficked for his own political purposes. More to come. Oh my fucking God. That's incredible, dude. I mean, this is... DeSantis should just deport all Venezuelan and Cuban migrants, legal or not, see how well future elections go for Republicans. I mean, dude, he just, like, this is his base. What is he doing? This is like immediate family members of his fucking base that he's doing. this too. Like it is such a misstep on every front.
Yes. So the governor of California sent a letter to the Department of Justice saying you need to prosecute Texas and Florida governors. And all I can say is I think his hair gel is interfering with his brain function.
I fucking hate this country so much, dude. I despise these motherfuckers, dude. I swear to God. Oh, he fucking owned the libtard, dude. He owned the libtard. Yo, Governor Gavin Newsom, listen to me, motherfucker. Listen, you sexy fuck. If you do not straight blow out the back walls of Ron DeSantis' now cancer-free wife, you are a pussy, okay? Go fuck his wife. Stop fucking the wives of every other Republican in California and go fuck Ron DeSantis' wife and give her an orgasm for the first fucking time of her goddamn life. The fuck are you doing? What are you doing, Newsom? Gruesome Governor Gavin Newsom? Get the fuck out of here. Go fuck Ron DeSantis' wife. Shit, dude. Yeah, use your fucking powers for good, Gavin. The hell is this? Start cucking Ron DeSantis and other political operatives within the GOP.
Thanks, guys.
Also, what an incredible fucking counter, dude. I mean, he just did not even address anything that Gavin Newsom said about the criminality of the situation, and instead was just like, he has hair gel. And then all the fucking hogs and hogalinas in the room going, oh, that's so good. That's so fucking good, man. You fucking got it. It's like, I want to fucking video game myself, dude. Holy shit. God, I fucking, please throw this motherfucker in jail. Please. That'd be so sweet.
Is if they're coming in through with like 3 people in a car and they go through, it's hard for us to know because they're just coming into the state like any other car. So if there's not a big movement. So they've been in Texas identifying people that are trying to come to Florida and then offering them free transportation to sanctuary jurisdictions. And so they went from Texas to Florida to Martha's Vineyard with a flight. There's also going to be buses and there will likely be more flights. But I'll tell you this. The legislature gave me $12 million. We're going to spend every penny of that to make sure that we're protecting the people of the state of Florida.
Yeah, protecting them from Venezuelan migrants escaping communism, by the way. Remember, because, like, obviously I don't give a shit about the whole, like, escaping communism narrative. But, like, try to comprehend that, like, the people that he's talking about are his voters, his base of support, and people that have, like, America has historically actually offered America has historically offered lenient temporary protection status to. They have it until 2024, okay? And Florida has been built on this principle, like Cubans and Venezuelans especially. Okay? So him shitting on this idea is kind of funny because, like, no matter how much cognitive dissonance dumbass fucking older reactionary Cubans have towards other migrants, because they were afforded an incredible asylum opportunity, right? It's going to be pretty fucking hard for them not to comprehend that these are literally other Venezuelans. You know what I mean? Like, that's your cousin. That's your family members. That's people that look like you. That's people that are coming from the same background as you. Going to be hard for Venezuelans not to realize, like, oh shit, Venezuelans in Florida, not to be like, that's kind of fucked up, as I was saying. And it turns out they are actually pushing back a little bit on this. But yes, Venezuelans have temporary protected status from Venezuela because you know, we hate Maduro. Remember, it's bipartisan. The only people ever afforded the wet foot, dry foot policy hate other immigrants. Cubans are the most fucked immigrant group. I mean, yes, Cuban immigrants and Venezuelan immigrants have a different status but especially Cuban immigrants, have a different status in the state of Florida, where they were afforded complete asylum and naturalization opportunities. And for that reason, they recognize that difference in treatment and pretty much overlook the difference in treatment when they're shitting on other migrants coming in. I hate these motherfuckers. This GOP Jesus ad will never age out. What is this?
To you. Whoever welcomes one of these little ones in my name might be letting in a murderer or a drug. Let's get her to a detention center. Till we can figure out what's going on.
I mean, I do love right-wing Jesus. Like, supply side Jesus is like a pretty funny fucking meme. The idea that sorry, as a matter of fact, I will not be healing the lepers today because it doesn't seem like you had Jesus coverage. I mean, this is an old meme at this point.
I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. And behold, now I'm all lazy and entitled. You shouldn't have done that. Do unto others as you suspect they might want to do unto you. What is a man profited if he gain the whole world but lose his soul? A lot. He has profited a lot. One soul for the whole world, that is an amazing deal. Why do you look at the speck of dust in your brother's eye but ignore the plank in your own? Because of her emails. Yes. If a man strikes you on the right cheek, turn to him and shoot him. That is the law. If you want to be perfect, go. Sell all the possessions that you have and give the money to a solid mutual fund. By this, they will know that you are my disciples. That you say, Merry Christmas! Christ! Christmas! That's my name in there, and I put it in there because I wanted it in there so we could all celebrate Big Boy Jesus' birthday time! Okay? Okay.
Rabbi, surely you can heal me.
My child, of course I could. But who would pay for it?
What? I don't understand. I don't have any money.
Yes, it is a sad story, but it does not make me responsible. It is super duper easy for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. The richer, the better, really. Maybe get a solid gold house, just to be sure. Love your neighbor as yourself. Unless you are better than your neighbor, then tell them that they're weird and you do not want to bake them a cake. You have heard it said, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say to you, any man who looks upon a woman with lust in his heart should go ahead and do what he's got to do.
Lord, your followers grow hungry and we have only this fish and bread.
Oh, sweet.
I mean, it's a little libbed up. This version of it is a little bit too libbed up. There's like funnier avenues to hit here, but ultimately you get the point. Is that Jesus Christ was a mythical figure that was a communist in every sense of the fucking word, but Republicans who drape themselves in the doctrines of Christianity preach the prosperity gospel, which is literally antithetical to the lessons within the Bible. Like, you can say the Bible has passages that people have used to justify slavery. You can say the Bible has passages that can be used for abolition, right? And have been historically used for abolitionist principles. Okay, you can talk about liberation theology. But if there's one clear through line within the Bible, it is that Jesus is a good person, right? And good people are, no matter how much fucking capital should I tell you that is wrong, good people are still aligned with socialist principles of charity. Talking about, how hard it is for a rich man to get to go through the fucking doors of heaven. Okay? You can try to extrapolate whatever information you want to, but overall, what Jesus was doing was pretty fucking leftist, dude.
Mary Bruce starts us off. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. This is an audacious stunt. Republican governors using thousands of migrants searching for a better life to make a political point about immigration.
I mean, I can't even fucking get over this, dude. I mean, this is literally the most anti-Christian thing you could do right here.
Attempt to up the pressure on Democrats in the White House and highlighting what is a very serious issue. And this morning, the president is now responding, defending his policies and calling this Republican tactic reckless and un-American. Overnight, President Biden taking on Republican governors, accusing them of using human beings as political pawns.
Republicans are playing politics with human beings, using them as props. What they're doing is simply wrong.
Biden responding as conservative governors send more and more migrants from strained border communities to liberal strongholds, an effort to spotlight immigration 2 months before the midterm elections. Hector Miguel Donere didn't know where he was going.
They said that they were taking us somewhere where there is refuge, a lot of help, especially for the children that were traveling with us.
But when he stepped off the bus in Washington, D.C. yesterday, he was outside one of the city's most famous residences, the vice president's house. One of thousands of undocumented migrants bused to Washington by Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott. Hours before his bus arrived, 2 private chartered jets from San Antonio made a surprise landing on the wealthy island of Martha's Vineyard, carrying roughly 50 migrants, including several children, sent by Florida's Republican governor and presidential hopeful Ron DeSantis. Local officials say they had no idea they were coming, but DeSantis made sure cameras captured it all.
The minute even a small fraction of what those border towns deal with every day is brought to their front door, they all of a sudden go berserk.
But on the ground, officials say they raced to provide help and housing.
The immigrants that arrived here were not met with chaos. They've been met with compassion.
For months, Republican governors have been sending migrants to Democratic states to try and make a political point. New York City receiving nearly 12,000 migrants. Its mayor says the city is nearing its breaking point.
We need help. We have not been ashamed to say that. We need help.
The Republican governors say the administration's process is broken and argue their tactic is giving the rest of the country a much-needed dose of reality. There has been a surge in border crossings, a record 1.8 million apprehensions since October.
Is it me or is this just some kind of Nazi shit? I mean, there is a historical precedent of white supremacists doing this, yes, in the 60s and 50s. They did this to black people in the southern states. I mean, this has been happening for a long time. Even, I mean, this every period of American history has its own version of white supremacist shit, like all the way from internment camps, the Bracero program that specifically targeted Hispanic migrant workers, the internment camps for the Japanese, and also, you know, black people in general were shipped out from southern states to northern states. This has always been a part of you know, American white supremacist history. So I don't even know where the fuck to start and where the fuck to end. A trail of tears for the indigenous population. Like it's easier to find a time. Actually, no, I don't even know. I like, is there a period in American history where this hasn't happened to a to whatever fucking a group of the population that the dominant white supremacist forces considered to be the underclass or not human? Oh yeah, here it is. Reverse freedom rides, an echo of Martha's Vineyard migrants flights 60 years ago. Here it is. Okay. Tricked by segregationists with promises of work and housing, black families were dropped off in Cape Cod with nothing. Eliza Davis was bewildered the day she arrived in a wealthy tourist town in Cape Cod. An agricultural worker, she had been promised work and housing if she took a free trip to another state. Days later, disembarking with her 8 children, she had little idea where she was, that a president had a family compound down the road, or that she was a pawn, as locals told the New York Times, in a political stunt. Davis, 36, was not among the migrants who arrived on Wednesday on Martha's Vineyard, a resort island off Cape Cod where former President Barack Obama has a home. She was a black woman from Alabama, bused and abandoned in Hyannis, Massachusetts in 1962, not far from the holiday home of President John F. Kennedy. Today's migrants in Martha's Vineyard are now being transported to the same Cape Cod military base that housed the Reverse Freedom Riders decades ago. That's what it was called. It was part of the so-called Reverse Freedom Rides arranged by white segregationists in 1962 in retaliation for the Freedom Rides of the previous summer, when black and white volunteers rode buses through the South supporting desegregation. The plot was organized by white supremacist Citizens Council in Arkansas, who bought radio ads and made flyers advertising the opportunity to African Americans. They focused on recruiting men with criminal records and single mothers with a lot of children, cynically presuming white liberals would welcome them the least. You get banned? What? Are you left, Hasan? Or are you leaving us in the dust when shit goes down? Bro, this guy does not deserve any more attention. Where's the railway strike news, brother? I thought you were left. You can get banned for asking questions? Oops. So long freedom, I guess. Hey, you fucking idiot. I talked extensively on the railway strikes yesterday, and I talked about this issue as well. We will cover the railway strikes more today. But there is, like, the only difference between you in this circumstance is that you can yell at the fucking TV and the TV responds to you. You fucking idiot. Shut up. Let me go through the fucking news stories in the way that I want to. Holy fuck. They already kicked the fucking can down the road to behind the fucking midterms. They already pushed it. There's a stalemate now. But or rather, there is a transitional period. There's a cool down period that ends on the 29th. Actually, criticizing trafficking migrants is not a leftist thing to do. Yeah, exactly. Layla Mae Williams, an Arkansas woman who was also dropped off in Hyannis with her 9 youngest children, was dressed in her finest clothes because she had been told Kennedy himself was going to greet them when they arrived. According to the 2020 NPR report, she had packed little else because anything she needed was going to be provided, she was told. Along with the new arrivals, local Hyannis officials received anonymous letters, according to the Times, saying things like, Abe Lincoln sowed the seeds, and now the North can reap the harvest. And we have put up with millions of N-words for 100 years, so why should you squawk? It was a contrast to the Great Migration of the previous decades, during which white residents did everything they could to stop black workers from leaving. Families would often have to sneak to the train station under the cover of darkness or use other subterfuge to escape, described in detail by historian Isabel Wilkerson in her book, The Warmth of Other Suns, The Epic Story of America's Great Migration. Southern segregationist groups baldly deceived black families using tactics consciously parodying the Freedom Rides, noted Clive Webb, an American history professor at the University of Sussex, in 2004 paper on the reverse Freedom Rides. They said they promised free transportation plus $5 for expenses to any Negro man or woman or family, no limit to size, who desire to migrate to the nation's capital or any city in the North of their choosing. Notices were also posted in prisons offering free transportation to prisoners whose sentences were set to expire. So what the white supremacists did back then was look for, optically speaking, look for the worst, they were racist as fuck. So they were like, here's what will look the worst. Here's what white liberals will say no to the most likely to say no to. Except that fucking fell on their face too. Laptop my family was using to con the ad system is no longer bringing the money, and it's got all you Twitches hacked nonsense is out in the wild. You are all bitch whipped. Do you understand that you are punishing me for absolutely nothing? Dude, take a week off, man. Why can't this just be done in reverse and all the hogs get shipped to Florida? Then we let Florida be its own country. Hey, guys. I am on board with that. You already know that. Listen, if you're not taking your medication, I suggest you do, okay? All I'm going to say. Anyway. Then, as in now in Cape Cod, many residents of Hyannis met the riders with open arms. A local committee formed to provide housing, clothing, and money for the new arrivals. Davis and at least 50 other, including 33 children, were housed in the dormitory of a nearby community college. Others were housed in private homes, and later, a nearby army barracks that was used until they could be placed with jobs and housing in the surrounding area. Those army barracks are being used again. For the record, Massachusetts Governor John Volpe condemned the rise as traffic in human misery. They're doing that again. The only way to meet such cruelty is by wisdom and love. Episcopal Bishop Anson Phelps Stokes Jr. told the Associated Press he urged the residents to show understanding and compassion. The welcome was not universal. When Massachusetts governor asked for federal help, the Kennedy administration declined. Kennedy called it a rather cheap exercise, but otherwise avoided the issue. Shouts out to the fucking Kennedy admin for that one, by the way. In New York, a few dozen black people arrived from Louisiana. City officials paid the bus fare for at least 6 to return to their home state, according to the Times. Some of the Southerners sent to Hyannis got jobs as cooks or chambermaids or in candle making factories, according to the 1964 column in the Boston Globe. When the summer ended, the jobs in Hyannis dried up. All but one family left. Victoria Bell, who appears in the photo at the top of the story, lived in Hyannis for the rest of her life, working as a nurse to the elderly and volunteering to help the poor, according to news clippings in the Barnstable Patriot. At least one of her children made the honor roll at school, and some still live in the area. Bell died in 2000. Remember, these were white supremacist segregationists that did this. Within a few years, Layla Mae Williams and her kids ended up in a Boston housing project where the family struggled without nearby relatives. One of her daughters told NPR's Code Solution 2020. Racist white neighbors resented their presence in public schools and harassed them. Reverse freedom rides ended up backfiring politically, Webb argued, because even moderate segregationists were put off by the cynical manipulation of poor African Americans. Remember, moderate segregationist was a term. Do you understand? We're talking, and like I said, like, moderate segregationist is just such a profoundly fucked up take, but it is the reality because American history and American culture is guided by white supremacist fundamentals. Do you understand? But trapped within that reality is exactly what I'm saying. People who literally are like, I'm a moderate on segregation. We're like, yeah, it's kind of fucked up what you did to those black folk. You get it? Do you understand? Do you see what I'm saying here? Because ultimately, even back then, people were like, I'm not racist. How dare you say that? Separate but equal. If people were to recognize their own inherent racist values, their own inherent white supremacist ideals, then there would be no need for, the whitewashing of American history. Okay? Do you understand? That's why they didn't say segregation is just straight segregation. They said it's separate but equal. Do you understand? There's always a need to, because conservative values unironically go against all of the better principles that people are taught to believe in, like sharing, turn the other cheek, okay? Treat others as though you would be treated yourself. Like, these are all values that we learn at an early age that are good, but they are always diametrically opposed to conservative principles like, steal, lie, cheat, who gives a fuck? Fuck everybody else. Fuck the taxes. Don't share. Be cruel to others that don't look like you. The cruelty is the purpose. Because it is completely opposed to what it takes to be a good person. Okay? It is completely the opposite of what it takes to be a good fucking person. Which is why people still otherwise consider themselves to be empathetic and kind and nice individuals. So when they see someone getting duped like this, even then they're going to be like, this is fucked up. Look. The scheme had never been condoned by the better thinking people here. New Orleans radio and television station WDSU denounced the campaign as sick, sensationals, and bordering on the moronic. A Gallup poll published in June 16, 1962 showed widespread disapproval of the council's tactics among white Southerners. In the end, only about 200 people were ever sent on the reverse freedom rides, far fewer than the thousands of migrants who have been transported north of D.C., New York, and now Massachusetts in the past few months. If you've ever heard conservatives talk about how nice they are, they oftentimes will talk about how much they give to their church and how much philanthropy they do, right? Why do those things matter? Those things matter to them. Ultimately, they do think that they're nice people. So when you very openly are like, nah, this is not nice, we're going to do like really horrible shit, even some conservatives are going to turn around and be like, wait a minute, okay, that's a little fucked up. Ah, yes, so much tax-free income for the church, so altruistic. Guys, I'm not saying it's a good thing. You're failing to comprehend what I mean. Do you understand? You are not seeing the larger, broader picture, and that is how people view themselves. Every person view themselves as a nice person from their own perspective, regardless of how fucking racist their attitudes might be. So when you see an immediate contradiction within how people fancy themselves and what their political representatives are doing on their behalf, some people are not going to like that. That is part of the reason why I am saying that this is one of those things that could potentially blow up in Ron DeSantis and Governor Greg Abbott's face. But there's still going to be plenty of conservatives that say, nah, fuck that. Okay? There's still going to be plenty of conservatives that look to this and go, no, this is great. This is actually so good. Isn't kindness based on an individual basis? So who are we to judge what kindness? Or is your point is that it's based on reactionism and therefore it doesn't matter what feelings are based on? Feelings stem from a non-individual basis? Wait, what? We already saw an example of this. We already saw an example of this when it comes to abortion. Because white women get abortion too. Conservative white women get abortions as well. Nobody, no matter how much you think abortion is murder, you're not going to fucking sit there and be like, yeah, it's a good thing that a raped 12-year-old had to go over state lines to get a fucking abortion. Some Republicans wild the fuck out and champion that kind of attitude, but ultimately, the broader majority of Republican voters even are going to look at that and go, yeah, that's kind of fucked up. And for those of you who say that's not the case, look at the fucking polls. It certainly is the case. Look at Kansas. Doesn't matter how deep red that shit is, okay? You can say they don't care. You can say that they don't care and Trump supporters don't care And you might know Trump supporters that don't care, but the broader majority of people that are otherwise not super politically motivated, that don't really look into this, but are just like repeating shit that they've learned from other people or, you know, things that they've seen on a Fox News coverage, those people still have the capacity to turn around and be like, yeah, this is kind of fucked up, actually. You're not going to hear that on our hyper-partisan news cycle. But ultimately, plenty of people still fancy themselves to be good people, and they do see things like this as a misstep. They do see things like this as too far. You're not saying they're actually good people, just that they think they're good people. They're nice and good. It's basic human psychology. Exactly. And there are, no matter what happens, there are certain things that you do, right, that will trigger people, like the inherent contradictions in the actions of political representatives will sometimes genuinely pose a threat, okay? Will genuinely be so obvious, so apparent that even people that fancy themselves as good people, regardless of being Republican or regardless of having like white supremacist and misogynistic takes, will still go, that's fucked up. That's too much for me. And I think this could be another instance where it has happened, at least in the past, when they did this exact same thing to black people, when segregationists did this. Again, like I'm showing you, there's empirical evidence to showcase that like this was not viewed in a positive way by the broader majority of people living in Arkansas even. In the 1960s, the buses were funded by anonymous people donated to private segregationist groups which aimed to tell the North to put up or shut up, as one New Orleans leader said. DeSantis has now said how the flights he arranged to Martha's Vineyard were funded, but Texas Governor Greg Abbott has used state resources and donations for the buses, and both have been eager to take credit. They're doing the exact same thing that white supremacist segregationists did in the 60s, and they're using state funds to do it. And ultimately, I think that this has the capacity to fucking backfire.
With about half of those migrants being released in the U.S., cities like El Paso, Texas, have hit a crisis point. ABC's Maria Villarreal seeing it firsthand.
El Paso is one of the border cities that's getting hit really hard right now. We just confirmed with the city that Border Patrol has about 1,300 encounters every day. And a lot of those people end up right here in the streets, downtown area of El Paso. You can see a lot of people are starting to drop off food and drinks here, as well as clothing for migrants that are waiting to get on buses to then head north.
We pressed the White House.
And do you feel that the situation at the border is under control? Are you doing enough?
We are fixing a broken system. It is not like turning the light switch on. It is going to take some time.
Now, the White House says the Trump administration is responsible for that broken system, and they do admit there is a lot more work that can be done here. But the president says that Republicans have shown no interest in actually solving the immigration problem through legislation. George, it's one of the many reasons the president is saying that the upcoming midterm elections are so critical.
Right, and hard to imagine anything happening before those elections.
By the way, liberal media is unironically framing this in the most like right-wing way possible, which is really fucked up. I mean, that is kind of fucked up. That they're like, no, there is a crisis in El Paso, and instead of showcasing the humanity of those people that are going through the crisis, they're talking about them like they're fucking numbers. Okay? There is a solution to this, okay? And the solution is providing these people with adequate fucking housing and job opportunities. Okay?
About altruism. If you are truly altruistic, this means that you dip into your own pocket to give people things, right? True altruism is when you are charitable with your own resources. It's a wonderful thing, right? Being altruistic about your own resources, recognizing that you owe something to your community because you're a member of that community, you're a member of that body politic. That's a good attitude to have. You know what's a terrible attitude to have is when altruism actually amounts to I'm going to put my hand in your pocket and I'm going to give your money away. And then I'm going to pat myself on the back for how altruistic I am. And unfortunately, an extraordinary amount of democratic policy, economic, environmental, foreign, enormous amounts of this policy are predicated on the idea that you are most altruistic when you are putting your hand in somebody else's pocket and then giving away their money, when you are taking somebody else's life.
Wait, what do you mean? Like what Governor Greg Abbott and Governor Ron DeSantis are doing, using state tax funds to literally fucking do kidnapping? Using state funds to kidnap and traffic migrants, including children? Yeah, I mean, that is fucked up.
And affecting their life in a way that makes you feel good. But it doesn't actually have any effect on you, but it makes you feel incredibly good because you are making Bob pay the bill. And let's face it, Bob deserves to pay the bill. You don't deserve to pay the bill. You're the good person. You're making Bob pay the bill. But so long as you are making Bob pay the bill, you owe no consequences. You don't have to actually be altruistic. You don't actually have to do anything. It's all up to you to make sure that somebody else does this thing. So much of left-wing policy is predicated on this very idea that the rules that you think should broadly apply to humanity and the consequences of which are not owned by you, those rules are good so long as you promulgate them. And then the minute you are clocked in the face by a reality, the rules become really, really bad. This is true on tax policy. Democrats in blue states across the country will raise state taxes to extraordinary levels. And then they'll go to the federal government and they'll ask for state and local tax deductions. The idea being that you should be able to deduct your high taxes in the state of California, for example, against your federal income tax. Because after all, the other states should pay for the fact that you've decided to raise taxes in your state. When it comes to homelessness, homelessness is a human right until precisely the moment the tent cities arrive in Malibu. Environmental policy. Environmentalism is all wonderful and good, especially for people who live in areas where you don't. Meanwhile, you get to basically fly around in a private jet. Right? Environmentalism is a luxury of the wealthy. And generally, the people who are most interested in environmentalism also have the largest carbon footprint because they also happen to be the most wealthy.
I mean, that is true. People who are interested in environmentalism do have the largest carbon footprint, which is every American citizen, by the way. Because every American citizen is still firmly a part of the labor aristocracy and still benefits from the spoils of living in the imperial core. And therefore, most American citizens, let's say, I'm not talking about fucking indigenous people, obviously, who are at the forefront of environmental protections, and they don't actually have a sizable carbon footprint. But, there is that reality, but ultimately it doesn't fucking matter because people are still trying to reduce, not their consumption necessarily, but at least their output. And that is the normal thing to do. That is the adequate thing to do. That's the right thing to do, especially because the people who are experiencing the worst consequences of environmental disasters are those who have the lowest carbon footprint and have no microphone whatsoever, have no podium whatsoever, like literally virtually everyone living in fucking Pakistan right now, a nation that is entirely underwater from massive amounts of flooding, with no water supply. 70% of their agricultural output is knocked out in its entirety. Okay? The fuck are those people supposed to do? Nothing. They got nothing. They're fucked. It's just...
And wealth goes along, in most cases, with a higher carbon footprint than people who are very, very poor. So this has now reared its head again with the issue of illegal immigration. The left, for my entire lifetime, has basically been soft on illegal immigration. They've suggested that illegal immigration, the free movement of people across America's southern border, and the ability of those people to then rely on the American welfare state, particularly on the state and local level, the ability of these folks to move across borders, to take jobs, to not pay their full share of taxes, to get free public education for their kids, to take advantage of the healthcare system, right? All of these things are a good. And to oppose this is to be cruel and nasty. Now, here's the thing. Most of the people who are pressing this sort of policy, particularly the elite levels of the Democratic Party, never actually have to deal with the consequences. They feel as though they are creating a new voter base. People are coming in and they're more dependent on government. They tend to be poorer than the average in the United States. They tend to be less educated on the average in the United States. And thus, they are more dependent on government largesse in the United States. And so the idea was bring this entire new group of people in, and these people are more likely to vote Democrat. That is how the demographics of California, for example, shifted from California being a red to purple state and now to a pure blue, deep blue, sea blue state. Okay, but here is the magic. In order to foment illegal immigration,
the way he talks about migrants is so chilling as if they're not literally the same exact fucking species as Ben. No, of course Ben doesn't see that. That's the whole point. He is hitting the great replacement theory, which is, of course, unironically a Nazi take, which is, of course, coming from an Orthodox Jewish man who, of course, parents also immigrated into this country. But hey, fuck you, he got his. You know what I mean? America is a sequence of like migrants that are coming in, a couple generations in, going, nah, fuck everyone else. Okay? And he also does not think that. He does literally not think that they are human beings, for the record.
What you really have to do is you have to suggest that border towns in Texas have to deal with it. And certainly not Barack Obama up in Martha's Vineyard. Certainly not Kamala Harris over at the Naval Observatory.
Here's the issue with what Ben is saying. I mean, other than everything, right? The idea that like undocumented migrants are exclusively a burden on states like Texas is so fucking stupid. You just used California. You just talked about California, one of the wealthiest fucking states. Texas is as well. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You think California doesn't have a steady flow of migrants coming in? So how is California able to work through that, whereas Texas is not? It's a burden for Texas, but not for California? Is that what it is? Where do you think California is on the map, you fucking idiot? Where? It just makes no sense. Like, his argument does not make any sense. Immigrants, including illegal immigrants, statistically boost the economy. That's legit Econ 101. I know. Libertarian, by the way, but no free travel libertarian, which is hilarious. It also, the great replacement theory is also fucking insanely idiotic because it goes against what the GOP, what the Texas GOP is doing right now, which is finding a way to, you know, make the Latino population there, which is Texas is historically had a huge Hispanic population, obviously, because of where it fucking is and what it fucking was as a state historically, you know, Spanish and then Mexican territory. But again, Texas GOP is working on ways to, you know, get the Hispanic population to vote for the Republican Party, which they are relatively successful on, partially because the Democrats absolutely suck. Even right-wing think tanks couldn't debunk that Econ 101 take on immigrants, economically net positive. Yeah, of course. That's why they try to fucking lie and say like, oh, they're doing crimes and shit. But again, that's why they always act like migrants are a monolithic force for evil. They're coming into the country to do crimes, or they're coming into the fucking country to steal your jobs or something, or they're coming into the country to like vote for the Democratic Party. I mean, here's one way that they would stop voting for the Democratic Party if the right wing was not cutting agitprop that demonized them. You know? That's one quick way.
In Maryland. Those people don't have to deal with it. Certainly not Eric Adams in New York City. The people, Lori Lightfoot in Chicago, those people don't have to deal with it. Because after all, the true altruism is making sure that the people down on the border in Texas who are saying, you know what, this is really screwing up our city, those people are the bad guys. Greg Abbott is the bad one. Doug Ducey in Arizona, he's the bad one. The people along the border who say, this is creating real societal and cultural problems and economic problems and crime problems. Those people are they're intolerant. They're bigots. They're bad. Because we're altruists, right?
All my conservative parents think you ruined me because I'm not alt-right anymore. Well, sucks to suck for your parents.
They're bad. We are the altruists. And so there is something extraordinarily ironic about the hue and cry that is now coming from top-level Democrats over the move by border state Republicans, Ron DeSantis in Florida, which technically is not a border state, but there's a lot of illegal immigration into Florida, or Greg Abbott in Texas, who have now been saying to Democratic governors and Democratic mayors, guys, if you love illegal immigration so much, if you want to say that you are a sanctuary city without actually having to deal with the predominant force of illegal immigration, and guess what?
Again, like, California literally fucking changes the narrative. Like, why is he making it seem as though California does not have a lot of immigrants coming into California? Like, what do you mean? Is that not a border state? Is that not a state with a fucking border? I don't understand. Like, you brought up California. Why are you no longer talking about California? They're going to be hitting that fucking line so hard, dude. They realize that, like, the abortion issue is one that is getting them absolutely fucking cumstered in the polls. So they're trying to find a new one. They're trying to create a new issue. And because there is no, like, cohesive caravan that you can point to, you're just doing the whole, like, look, they're doing open borders. It's like, motherfucker, you're the one who's doing caravans. The fuck do you mean? And this is an opportunity for the Democratic Party to say, dude, we have the capacity to take care of all these people, man. And these people we're not even taking care of them. We're just offering them, like, humane living conditions, and then they're taking care of us. Because immigrants are an overall net positive to the economy. Right? So we'll see. We'll see what the fuck happens there. It's just so disheartening to know that these people don't believe any of this agitprop, but continue to sheer greed of it. Literal demons on earth. Yeah. No, I think they do believe it. I think that they do believe it. They do believe it.
You asked for it, you got it. And so Greg Abbott and Governor DeSantis, they've now been sending illegal immigrants to deep blue areas where they support sanctuary cities and open illegal immigration. They've been saying, now we'll see how much you like it. We'll see how altruistic you are when your hand is in your own pocket and not ours. We'll see how kind and charitable you are with your own resources and how much you like illegal immigration when it actually affects you. We'll see how much you...
Why does Ben act like undocumented immigrants don't fucking exist in any of the states other than, like, border states? Or why does he also act like at the top of the hour there is no 60-second ad break that's coming? And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free, by the way. Ben doesn't want you to know that. Okay? Yeah, get fucked. Get fucked. I'm back, baby. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Or that you can avoid those ads if you get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Okay? Here's the 1 minute ad break now. Chase2571, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads. For ad breaks, your existence is a light one. Thank you. Ah.
You enjoy defund the police when the criminals are sitting right side your house. Right? We'll see how much you enjoy homelessness.
When the criminals, yeah, automatically, every fucking undocumented migrant is a criminal. Dude, just say you're racist and move on, man. Holy fuck. This kind of propaganda is so stupid. It's like, Yeah, dude, criminals. Remember yesterday when we saw the footage of the people coming off those buses, dude? Such criminals. That little kid, that fucking 7-year-old Venezuelan kid in the Marvel pajamas, dude. Typical criminal, dude. Typical criminal. Barai, thank you for the 3 get the subs.
When again, there are people who are camped out in your front yard. We'll see how much you enjoy high tax rates when there is no state and local tax deduction. Making people own the consequences of their own political decision-making is a net positive. This is also true, by the way, intergenerationally. Democratic economic policy is predicated on the idea that you can steal from future generations and then you can use the money here. And this is not just true in the United States. This is true all over the world. The decline of Western economics is largely based on the fact that we have abandoned the sort of Burkean notion that you owe a debt to future generations, not the other way around, right? They owe a debt to you in the sense that they are supposed to inherit a stable and decent system, but they are not supposed to pay your bills. It is a fundamental fact of morality that a parent is supposed to provide for the child, and that typically speaking, only in old age are children supposed to provide for their parents. But the idea is that not that you burden your unborn grandchildren with debts they are never going to be able to pay, and yet we have broken that intergenerational barrier. We've destroyed that morality, and so now we have basically impoverished our children and grandchildren on the back of extraordinary levels of public and, yes, private debt here in the West, and that is why you're seeing low rates of economic growth across the West, and this has been true for at least a couple of decades. So making people own the consequences of their decisions in the here and now is a very good way of forcing better policy. So I'm very much in favor of Ron DeSantis, for example, sending a couple of charter planes of illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard. And what's hysterical about this, so there's video that emerged yesterday of this happening. Fox News had the video. Apparently, Governor DeSantis sent a couple of charter planes filled with illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts, right? It is the playground of the rich and famous. Barack Obama should have plenty of place. I mean, he should have lots of room on his estate. He's got a 29.3 acre estate on Martha's Vineyard, which must have cost a fairly large fortune. According to the governor's communications director, Taryn Fenske, she said, yes, Florida can confirm the 2 planes with illegal immigrants that arrived in Martha's Vineyard today were part of the state's relocation program to transport illegal immigrants to sanctuary destinations. States like Massachusetts, New York, and California will better facilitate the care of these individuals who they have invited into our country by incentivizing illegal immigration through their designation as sanctuary states and support for the Biden administration's open border policies. As you may know, in this past legislative session, the Florida legislature appropriated $12 million to implement a program to facilitate the transport of illegal immigrants from this state consistent with federal law. The office of Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker responded to the after-hours email saying the Baker-Polito administration is in touch with local officials regarding the arrival of migrants in Martha's Vineyard. At this time, short-term shelter services are being provided by local offices. The administration will continue to support these efforts. Here's a little bit of the video of the charter planes arriving in Martha's Vineyard.
But DeSantis has sent migrants on a plane to Martha's Vineyard. Now, this is where the Obamas have a home, Oprah, Beyonce.
Illegals arrive on Martha's Vineyard.
Even James Taylor, who's going to be seeing fire, rain, and migrants. Not to mention Rosie O'Donnell. I mean, everybody basically that you know on the left has a home there. Do you think they're going to be embracing their new neighbors?
You know, these are all sanctuary cities until they're in their sanctuary.
Right.
I doubt they'll embrace them. Don't know that I've ever been to Martha's Vineyard. I've been to places where we've seen these migrants come across. This is not good for America.
I mean, turns out, wait, what? This is not good for America. Thank God Ron DeSantis did this thing that's not good for America. It turns out they are doing that, though. They are helping them out. They've already been relocated. They've been found like temporary housing immediately, regardless of the fact that this was like kind of fucking thrown on everyone, which is not the appropriate way to do this. These people are not illegal immigrants, by the way. They're asylum seekers. This is literally legal. The fact that they're Venezuelan makes this extra funny because, once again, Venezuelans have temporary protected status up until 2024. So because of America's attitude towards the Maduro regime that they hate and despise, they literally want to use Venezuelan migrants as a political pawn, which is precisely the reason why. And Mike Pompeo should know this, by the way. And he does know this, but it doesn't fucking matter because he's a goddamn demon. Okay? But it doesn't fucking matter. But again, the irony is that they are Venezuelan, which means that they are quite literally not only legal asylum seekers, but extra legal asylum seekers. Like, they're super legal. How can you accuse someone of a crime on national television? I don't know. They're also, how can you ship someone by lying to them over to a different fucking state, an entirely different state? How can you traffic children? Well, you can do whatever the fuck you want to migrants. Because Americans are, you're literally so stupid, bro. Yeah, I'm so fucking stupid, bro. I already talked about how sadistic this is. We watched this attorney talk about it. Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Ben. But yeah, you can definitely slander them, which people do all the fucking time because they're migrants. As in, they're not, they don't have any fucking protections whatsoever.
Every town's a border town, and we need to make sure we get our southern border secured exactly like we did for 4 years, Jesse.
Meanwhile, the Texas governor, Greg Abbott, is doing something similar with regard to Kamala Harris. According to Fox 5 DC, Fox News is reporting that 2 buses of migrants arrived on Thursday morning outside Kamala Harris's residence at the Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C. Approximately 100 migrants, mainly from Venezuela, arrived just before 7 a.m. from Del Rio, Texas, and were offloaded near the Naval Observatory's main guard gate. The migrants were picked up in Eagle Pass, Texas, and were sent by Governor Greg Abbott. Here's a little bit of Fox News' report.
Buses filled with migrants from our southern border have just arrived outside Vice President Kamala Harris's residence at the Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C. Griff Jenkins is live on the scene to tell us more. Griff, is that Massachusetts Avenue that I'm looking at right there?
Yeah. Good morning, Steve, Ainsley, and Brian. This bus just arrived moments ago. I talked to some of the folks. Apparently, this bus has come from Del Rio, Texas.
Okay, so the typical response in the media is, this is horrible. How could they do this? So just to get this straight, when a bus filled with migrants arrives in Del Rio, Texas, that's a net good for the United States. That's a good thing, because forcing Del Rio, Texas to take all those people in is great. Remember a few years ago when there was a migration crisis under President Obama.
What a strange take. Yeah, it's good if you go through the proper channels and adequately inform people on the other side so that there is like immediate food and shelter available. Yeah. It's not good when you fucking send them to Kamala Harris's house and only inform Fox News so they can go over there and be like, no hablo español. Abuela, is the border open? Like, you know, do that fucking broken Peggy Hill ass shit that they did there. Abierto. Donde está la biblioteca?
A city in California called Murrieta, and there are a bunch of residents there who are saying, don't take these buses here. Like, we live here. We don't have the resources to take care of these people. They're just going to be sitting around in the bus station.
That's not... The only reason why this is fucking insane is because no one was informed. These people, when they come in through El Paso, have proper protocols to go through, which every single one of these fucking people had actually gone through. How conveniently is Ben Shapiro avoiding that fucking reality, by the way? You know?
And we don't know who they are. We don't know their backgrounds. We don't know how to feed them. And the people of Murrieta were treated as though they were terrorists. Like, how dare these people not just, I mean, don't we have a statue? And on that statue, it says that we should take in our tired, our weary, our huddled masses yearning to be free. Right? Don't we have, I mean, the Statue of Liberty, the statue of, okay, now, this has been a typical Democratic talking point for a very long time, but it turns out that the Statue of Liberty is in New York. Okay, fine. So if we send the migrants to New York, then presumably everything should be hunky-dory, right? If we send the illegal immigration wave that has been fostered by this administration, we're talking in excess of 1.3 million illegal immigrants have entered the country since Joe Biden took office. And that is not counting the gotaways, which could be up to another million. And when you have that many people who are arriving and they are swamping border towns, those towns don't have the resources for them. So why not send them? I mean, income inequality, guys. Equity. Why not?
I have literally no problem with taking migrants, legal asylum seekers, and relocating them to greener pastures. Okay? There is no issue with that whatsoever. As long as people are adequately informed ahead of time. Okay? These are people who are already going through the legal process. It doesn't even fucking matter. The legality in the situation is something that you can offer to every single migrant that's coming through the American borders. It's just that Americans do not want to do that. Many asylum seekers themselves would most likely take up that opportunity because opportunity is what they are looking for. Okay? Part of the reason why they want to stay in places like Texas and Florida is because they have a better chance of getting work and have a support system because they already have family members there. Why would you rip them away from that if they can become more valuable contributing members to society in places like that? It's not like these places do not need the extra help. They certainly do.
Why not send them to the richest enclaves in America, places like Martha's Vineyard? Why not send them to Malibu? Why not have them camp out outside Barbara Streisand's house? After all, if you're in favor of these policies, you should own the policies, should you not? You should be the person who's willing to pay for those policies, should you not? You shouldn't be foisting them on the people who are unfortunate enough to live at the border that you have decided to leave wide open in complete defiance of basic governmental duty. The battle for the culture.
That's great. At this stage, it kind of doesn't matter what is actually happening on the ground because Republicans can put a spin on it no matter what.
Significant.
Anyway, let's take a look at my favorite king, a legend, Donald Trump. Okay? Donald Trump has been popping off. Oh, wait, sorry. Let's watch the law that broke U.S. immigration first, and then we'll get to Donald Trump.
In the early 1990s, one contentious issue was hard to miss. Immigration.
Is immigration good for America?
The federal government won't stop them at the border.
You spend $5.5 billion a year to support them.
There's a right way and there's a wrong way.
At the time, there were around 5 million undocumented immigrants in the U.S. And most Americans saw immigrants as a burden on the country, taking jobs, housing, and healthcare, and thought immigration as a whole should be decreased.
Our country is invaded by immigrants who are like cancer cells.
That same year, Republicans ran on a tough on immigration platform and took control of Congress. Democrats were pushed to adopt tough positions on immigration, too.
We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws.
In 1996, President Bill Clinton signed a major piece of legislation, the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act, or...
I love when people say, we're a nation of laws, as you're literally signing a new law to be unnecessarily harmful and violent towards immigrants. Okay. Yeah, we are a nation of laws. And you had every opportunity to write a law that was humane. And you chose not to do that. The fuck do you mean we're a nation of laws?
IRA. Its goal was to decrease the number of undocumented immigrants. It did the opposite. Before the 1990s, undocumented immigration
Just like, you can't trust Arkansas, man. That's what happens. You get Bill Clinton.
Into the U.S. looked very different. For one, it was usually temporary.
People used to go back and forth across the border. They would go north and, for the harvest, and they would earn some money, and they would go back to Mexico.
And if they wanted to come live permanently in the U.S., there were a few legal channels, but not many. If they married an American citizen, they could get lawful status. Or if maybe their brother was a citizen already, he could sponsor them. Or an employer could. And these could be done after they were already living in the U.S. undocumented. Before 1996, the threat of deportation was relatively low. People were commonly deported for committing a crime, and it was mostly limited to major crimes like murder or trafficking. But IRA, together with other 1996 laws, drastically expanded deportable crimes to even minor infractions like shoplifting. It was also retroactive. So say it's 1976 and someone is caught stealing some albums from the mall. They wouldn't be deported. Over the next 20 years, they never commit another crime. But after 1996, they could be deported because of that old misdemeanor. And not just if they were currently undocumented. This applied to immigrants with lawful status too. And previously an immigrant...
Yeah, free flow of commerce and traffic over borders, surprisingly, with no restrictions, surprisingly created a system where migrant workers could go back and forth and help out the Mexican economy on top of the American economy. When you decided to shut that off for no fucking reason other than bullshit reactionary purposes, well, I guess there is a materialist reason for it. It's because you wanted to create a permanent underclass. That's when you created this problem. You just manifested it.
Immigration judge could decide if the deportation should even take place. Now things were a little more automatic.
Ignoring the fact that those deportations would be extremely harmful to U.S. citizen children or to spouses.
Deportations skyrocketed, and IRA created the framework for future laws that further expanded reasons people could be deported, especially after 9/11. But IRA also made another huge fundamental change in the U.S. immigration system.
One of the aspects of the 1996 law that is particularly strict and I think in many respects inhumane is the so-called 3 and 10-year bars.
Those 3 and 10-year bars made these legal pathways nearly impossible to obtain. They work like this. Anyone who's been undocumented in the U.S. for 6 months and wants to gain legal status first has to leave the country and be barred from returning for 3 years. If they've been undocumented for more than a year, they're barred for 10 years. So if they want to get lawful status through a job, they first have to leave the U.S. for 10 years. Or through their brother, leave for 10 years. Or through their spouse, leave for 10 years.
It's family separation by another name. The bars were intended to try to essentially create punishments that were so severe to deter people essentially from coming here. But as we've seen with many other deterrence-based policies, the practical effect is very different.
Instead, it incentivized people to stay in the U.S. undocumented. Before IRA, Mexican immigrants who came to the U.S. unlawfully were about 50% likely to return to Mexico within a year. But after 1996, more people started staying in the U.S. There were around 5 million undocumented immigrants living at the U.S. before IRA. Today, it's at least double that.
And we are somehow surprised by this outcome. This is of our own doing.
Laws like IRA shaped the way the U.S. focuses on immigration enforcement as a deterrent. But really, it proved that stronger enforcement doesn't actually stop undocumented immigration.
These laws or the politics of the 90s didn't really change the reasons why people come to the United States.
Today, views on immigrants are very different than they were in the 1990s. Most Americans now see them as a strength, not a burden. But the laws created here haven't changed.
Requirements and standards that were created decades ago that aren't responsive to...
Remember, the main reason why this two-tier criminal justice system for black and brown people versus white people exists is the exact same reason why there's a two-tier immigration system. It is to consistently have near slave wages and near slave like conditions in the workplace and have a constantly refilling pool of undocumented migrants that you can exploit and use against the documented labor force as well. The best way to deal with this problem is to, of course, offer undocumented migrants amnesty and allow them to become a part of the documented labor force and advocate alongside the documented labor force in unionization efforts. But we will never do that because they have to find new methods of doing slavery. A lot of the studies that we talk about right now with respect to the economic boon caused by undocumented migrants relies on that two-tier immigration system. Okay? Like they're looking at the economic calculation and the economic impact of migrant workers while keeping them as a permanent underclass. And yes, as they are the permanent underclass, they are a huge boon. So it's this self-fulfilling prophecy almost. Come on, get out there and help Venezuelans, dude. Get on the news and speak out. You have the power. What? What do you mean? What do you think I'm doing right now? If Americans were truly hyper-nationalistic and truly as racist as Tucker Carlson is, like in a sense where they just literally do not want, like Oregon style, they just did not want any black or brown people in their vicinity, then we would be murdering the business owners that have baked into their profit margins the tiny amount of fines that they have to pay every time they call ICE on themselves. Okay? They would literally straight up jail the business owners, effectively destroying any opportunity that migrant workers could potentially have. But we don't do that because the whole purpose of that racist agitprop is to create this never-ending cycle of a permanent, the creation of a permanent underclass. Camp reimbursement stuff. Use all your money to make the bad stuff stop. Just don't sit there. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna do that right now.
Our needs as a nation, they certainly aren't responsive to the needs of immigrant populations.
The idea that if we only had more guns, if we only built a higher wall, that we'd solve all the problems, I think we learned from 96 that's not the way it works. It's not that simple.
Don't make migrants illegal. Make it illegal to pay undocumented migrants less than the American citizen working right next to them. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to move on from that story. We still got Anthony Fantano. Are the British all right? Let's take a look.
Roll up, roll up. We're on day 5 of Mournfest, the shittest event of the year. We've all got a ticket whether we fucking like it or not. Have a way. At this point, the broadcasters have lost their minds. Safe to say the Queen lived her life with a reasonable amount of dignity, yet they're all tracking her coffin like she's a fucking Deliveroo order. It's across the...
That is a pretty wild thing that they're doing, by the way. Like, that is kind of undignified. Like, I was thinking about this morning. Like, there's literally a queue for the fucking Queen, mate. There's a fucking queue, yeah? They're, like, parading her coffin and shit.
Between North Korean state propaganda and mourn porn. At this point, I think the BBC should change their name to Mournhub. I mean, at least on Pornhub you get more reasonable, variation of storylines, like on the face, tits, Even right-wing commentators are losing it. It's alleged that Dan Wootton stole flowers from the Buckingham Palace gates in footage that absolutely was not doctored. You can't make videos go backwards, we don't have the technology. On a serious note though, there's real life repercussions of this. 22-year-old legend Rory shouted "you sick old man" at Prince Nancy Andrew. He was assaulted by a couple of basic Huns, who the police ignored before taking him away in handcuffs. Tell you what, if you don't want people to protest against your attempted rehabilitation, an accused sex offender, how about you don't parade him through the streets in public? Do you want to know who else arrests members of the public for holding up signs? Russia. So the Tories have not only taken Russian money in its millions, but have also adopted their authoritarian anti-protest laws. Well done. As for my view...
No way David Beckham waited 12 hours in line to bow for 5 seconds. Bro, there is nothing more cucked than this. I can't imagine. What the fuck? Yo, this is hurting me, man. This is actually hurting me, dude. This is showing me that, like, no, the natural state of man is peasantry. The natural state of man is unironically reinforcing, like, some kind of fucking monarchy. Doesn't this shit have a fast pass he could have gotten? Bro, I'm sorry. I love my fucking grandma, but I wouldn't wait 12 hours in line for her ass. That's insane. Yeah, straight up. Like, I don't think I would wait for my own grandma's fucking funeral if it meant 12 hours of standing in line. I'm not even kidding, bro. That's crazy. I mean, R.I.P., you know what I mean? R.I.P., grandma. You were loved, but I mean, that's a crazy thing to expect. Can't you respect the person and reject the establishment? Isn't it kind of the same take as not being able to criticize capitalism if you participate in it? What? Bro, everything about the queen is quite literally just there because she had the best spawn point. It's not like she fucking... What? What do you respect about the queen? What the fuck has she done? She's done nothing. Also, she is the establishment. She was like the fucking PR person for it. You know what I mean? I think if my grandma was there, she'd be equally furious about standing for 12 hours. A lot of Brits just love the queen as an icon and ignore the rest of the monarchy. People just really love the queen and she was portrayed as this wholesome figure. Yeah, I mean, it's PR. You're just a fucking dummy. That's it. You just got caught up in the PR. People think the queen was so sweet, but I played a lot of Black Ops 3 with her and she popped off with slurs. She hated the jetpack movement. Yo, Michael, you're making me actually agree with the queen pretty hard here. I mean, I would probably stand in line for 12 hours to kiss her boot, her dead feet, because the jetpack movement was fucking dog shit. Charles met with booze in Cardiff, Wales today. Yeah, no shit. Dude, are you sick again? Nope. This is such a weird thing, man. Hey, the singer Bad Bunny uploaded a recent video critique that roots on capitals overtaking Puerto Rico. You should probably watch it. It is in Spanish, but it has English subs already. Dude, that's crazy. Standing in line for hours just to fucking bow at a dead queen's like coffin? What the fuck? Yo, listen, I know I make fun of British people a lot on this broadcast, and it's like usually just light ribbing out of, you know, because we're like, as an American, I see you as like distant cousins, you know what I mean? And I don't mean like in the royal sense where I'm gonna fuck you and it's gonna be like you know, daughter father type familial lineage because of centuries of inbreeding. I mean, like, you know, we're homies. You know, we all do the same exact dumb shit, right? But this is on a different level. Like, I truly did not understand how fucking brain broken British people were. Like, I unironically could not comprehend how bad it was. It is this is weird, man. This is so fucking weird, dog. This is so weird. Like, this doesn't, I don't know. It just kind of doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. That's it? If this was Mehmet Vahidettin, you would be crying too? No, I wouldn't. Fuck those people, bro. Stay in line. If you're in line before the casket closes, you can still pay respects. Stay in fucking line, bruv. As a bruv, it's insane to me. Most people didn't care about Lizzie before she died. I don't know where all these monarchy dick riders have been hiding. While we struggle to heat our homes, we pay for your parade. Charles confronted by a member of the public about the cost of living.
We have to pay for your parade.
Thank you for coming.
The taxpayer pays $100 million for you. What for?
Good take. He just moved away. An archer guarding the Queen's coffin in Westminster Hall has collapsed. Police officers on guard rushed over to assist the archer from who fainted and fell from his position. He's receiving medical attention and the public walk past has been halted. That's fucked up. No. He fell down in the most comical fashion, bro. I'm sorry. I'm always gonna look. I'm sorry, but that's pretty funny. He just fell face first, dog. That's crazy. That's crazy. This is literally the British 9/11. They're so hysterical. Does the guard get buried with her now? Yeah. He locked his legs. It happens a lot in military formations. Run it back. Bro, it's not like she's doing something crazy. Listen, if you're waiting for 12 hours in line, at least like show the queen, you know what I mean? Or like have her do something cool with the body. Like, I don't even understand. Like, what the fuck? You're just looking at some... You're literally just looking at some rugs, man. Some ugly-ass rugs on top of what is supposed to be the fucking queen. You know what I mean? Like, these weak-ass motherfuckers talking about locking knees. I've been locking my knees at events for ages. I've never fainted. Yeah, they should have posed her or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, doing something cool. Taxidermy the fucking corgis that they executed mercilessly at the queen's behest. Fuck it. Pose her like she's murdering the corgis with her bare hands. You know what I mean? Like that'd be sick. Like, do something. Let people take pictures in her lap like Santa Claus at the mall. Yeah, what the fuck? No, dumbass, you're not tough. We're explaining why. What? The corgi, they gave the corgis to Prince Andrew? Oh no, a fate worse than that. If it was the queen, I'd let them pose me somewhere like Where's Waldo? I just don't know. They're giving painkillers to the elderly people waiting in line. Painkillers are being given to the elderly mourners struggling with arthritic hips and knees as they queue for 14 hours to see the queen lying in state. Hey, that's socialized healthcare, baby. That's what happens when you have nationalized healthcare. They never buried her husband either. They just kept him at a vault. Wait, really? Bad Bunny doing more for Puerto Ricans than their government, but then again, the bar was so low. I don't know, man. They even fell down the stairs waiting to go in. That's hilarious. I don't know, man. All of this seems so insane to me. It is genuinely hard for me to comprehend. I convinced some people yesterday that they played the 009 sound system during the guard shift change. It was the Queen's fave song after all. You know how I know this is fake, Michael? Because not a single person is bopping to the 2009 beats. Okay? You know these people could not be able to hold themselves back. They'd be like, oh, hell yeah. I fucking love this, mate. I love this. I'm such a fan, mate. This is for us. Thank you for World War II, Yanks. Apparently, the UK news is pretending that protest crowds are Queen mourners. Sky News is reporting the Justice for Chris Kaba march as a tribute walk to the Queen's death. Disgraceful. Wait, what?
Thank you very much. So, the weight of this historic moment really felt here at the gates of Buckingham Palace, and thousands of people still arriving to pay their respects to the Queen.
Bruv, this is the Chris Kaba march, bruv.
Trafalgar Square, look at that. Look at the crowds of people.
Yeah, look at them.
I don't know Central London too well. Trafalgar Square just at the bottom of the mall, so the crowd's winding their way down there. I think they've probably come from Embankment. They're just coming around Trafalgar Square and they'll be working their way up the mall. And what a walk that is.
They're all black, mate.
Thousands of people lining that route. It really is an incredible.
The Queen's coming after me too, mate. I got a short F there, yeah? It was effing. It was effing for a moment, yeah? But it's so good, bruv. We're back. We're fucking back, yeah? It was effing all but for a moment, yeah? Don't worry. Don't you fucking worry, mate. We're fucking back, yeah? Refresh, you fucking dummies. 10 drop frames. F, yeah. This is a genius solution. Wait, let's take a look. I've come up with an interim solution to the queuing issue to see the Queen's coffin in Westminster. Let me know what you think. It's not perfect, but I don't see anyone else coming up with anything.
Queen's coffin lining up problem. The problem that we're having really is that it's taking about 30 hours for people to get through it, that's just unconscionable. So I think the way that it's running right now is that people are queuing up either side of the coffin, and they're sort of doing their last respects. This is not efficient. We're giving the Queen has got a lot more surface area than we're giving her credit for. We need to get rid of this. So what I'm proposing is that we mount the Queen to a Kawasaki robotic arm, and we bust out all the windows in Westminster,
yes,
in the hall, and we move the Queen around on the Kawasaki arm so everyone gets a good view of her. And this way, I mean, the view, it's going to be quick, but you do get to see it. This way we can handle about, I think it's 8.
Okay, here's why that would never happen. Because that seems way more cool than whatever the fuck kind of lame, old school shit that they're doing currently. I don't know why England wants to operate like they're still fucking ringing the bells to inform people that the Queen is dead. They want to go back. They want to go back to a time where they had the 13 colonies so bad. It's like, bro, it's done. We're in the new era. We're in the new age. It's the, what is it? The Elizabethan era is over. Right? Aren't we in the Carolinian age or some shit? What do they call it? It's time to do some crazy shit.
80 mourners per second, so that's pretty good. We can handle the entire country of 67 million people within about 3 days. So that's pretty good. That's just in time to the funeral. Let me know what you think. I don't know if we want to get this off the ground, we're probably going to have to start pretty soon.
The only bell we ring is the shame bell. They should cut her up and spread her around the UK like Yu-Gi-Oh! Exodia. Is jarring watching an army of people and infrastructure and supplies spring up overnight to support people standing in a queue when there's homeless people who sleep on the same streets. Well, not only that, but they also fucking literally stopped. The UK stopped letting citizens in line to see the Queen's coffin. She woke up and got out. She's running around on all fours, terrorizing anyone trying to stop her. 15 confirmed dead. That would be sick. I really live in a entirely different fucking world than these homies, man. It's crazy. I mean, this level of being cucked is unimaginable, man. It's crazy to me. I can't see it. I cannot for the life of me comprehend how fucking cucked you gotta be. Bernie Sanders made an appearance? No shot.
Why is Bernie Sanders there?
No! No, Bernie! Don't do it, Bernard!
Why is Bernie...
And he's dressed up to the fucking nines, dude. He was secretly a duke, dastardly. Oh, God save the Queen, bruv. Just bow at the TV, bro. I just don't fucking... I don't know. I don't know why. Someone needs to help me understand. There was a fucking live stream of this. Oh, it's still going on. This is the queue. There's a fucking queue live stream. And it's been going on for 12 hours. It's nighttime, man. People are getting sexually assaulted while waiting in the queues. 2 women sexually assaulted. Queue. What the fuck? It's still going on inside too. Yo, I'm gonna be honest, dude. This is pretty wild shit. I mean, this is unimaginable. This is unimaginable levels of cuckoldry, dude. That seems like the proper way to mourn a royal. This shows the current map and wait time. Currently lying in state queue endpoint. Entry to the queue at Southwark Park. Expected queuing time is at least 19.5 hours. Overnight temperatures will be cold. It's currently 10:48 in England, right? It's 22:48 in England. So lying in state on gov.uk for queuing guidance, yeah? People will be freezing out there at night time and they'll be fucking dying to say, to do their respects. To give their respects for the fucking Queen. Yeah, Dad, you gotta see the soundbite that you used for the God Falling. It's pretty this is pretty awesome. I mean, like, look. If Americans look at this and still have that same attitude that they had a couple days prior where they were yelling at me, I don't know what to tell you, bro. You just... For reference, this was Lincoln's funeral. I mean, Lincoln did some good shit, man, and was assassinated. Like, there's a difference between the fucking Queen. I could totally see MAGA cucks doing this if Trump dropped dead too. $110% bet people will do this shit for Trump too when he croaks. Oh, dude, it'll be awesome. This is MAGA when Trump dies? Nah, I actually don't think, because Americans are couch potatoes, man. I think, like, ultimately none of them actually ride that hard. Like, I think some of the most diehard loyalists that, like, go to the fucking Mar-a-Lago protests or whatever will probably inevitably make their way in a similar capacity, in a similar fashion. But I don't think... Americans are too lazy, man. They'll probably do a drive-thru or something. Like, it'll be set up. There'll be like a drive-thru set up. You'd have to be in your fucking Ford F-150, climate controlled, you know what I mean? There's no shot these fat fucks are going to be standing in line, dude. Are you crazy? For that long to see Donald Trump's corpse? They'd have to do it drive-through, I think. Also, Donald Trump is, like, way more fancy than the Queen. I feel like he'd do some, like, cool shit. You know what I mean? I feel like Donald Trump's funeral could be, like, kind of a party. Like, I could see that. Because the MAGA guys love turning everything into a fucking party, right? They love turning everything to a tailgate. So I could see them turning that into a tailgate, too. How did they know she's even in there? I don't think she is. The Queen lying in state. Yeah, no one. Yeah, she is lying. Because she's dead. It will be the longest line of scooters we'll ever see. They got hypothermia waiting for one of his rallies to start. They'll be tossing themselves in the grave when it happens. There's literally been 0 Republican viewpoints in media. It's just been nonstop mourn porn for the past week. I'm sorry. 50 to 60 people line up. 60K people line up days ahead of time for a rally. You're very misinformed. Did you just say 60,000 people line up days ahead for a Trump rally and I'm the misinformed one? You're out of your fucking mind, you idiot. That's not a thing. That has never happened in the history of Trump rallies. They line up day of, and it's like 5K. 60,000? You think 60,000? Bro, 60,000 Americans don't even line up to get into a fucking football stadium, you dickhead. Why would you? Oh, God. That's insane, dude. That is, like, so wrong. You think they have to look solemn and sad? Or you think he's just sad he has to stay there for hours? Just so you know, Met Police literally issued their apology for killing Chris Kaba on the day the Queen died to hide it in the news cycle. Jesus Christ. Can we watch the guy fall a couple more times, please? They pepper sprayed them for sure. No. They're just, I mean, this guy is like kind of falling. Yes, I have the Fantano Drake slid into my DMs video, yes. How many people were waiting for you outside of American Central Park? Not that many. No, it's right. Actually, my glorious big boy told me he had really big rallies. Some say the biggest. Yeah, I mean, this is North Korean shit. Like, this is exactly what they mock North Korea over. But once again, when we are doing it, then it's actually adequate and good and righteous and just. When North Korea does it, it's happening because it's authoritarian and bad and wrong. Okay? So, you know. Do the Drake drama in a second. Saw that we struggle to heat our home shit. Oh, they're also arresting people.
You were the Queen. Well, you know, I thought she was a hard worker, but there was no affection there. I don't.
There's literally a chatter. Carter, hey Hasan, I'm chatting from the queue right now. You can have some respect. Mobile viewer, by the way. Okay, dude, no.
I think respect should be enforced. She was head of state due to bloodline, cousins fucking, a lottery of birth, who then considered herself to have a divine right to rule. She also saw Britain as having liberated other cultures and countries from savagery. Every person deserves equal rights, opportunities, respect. But we are having our funerals cancelled, our hospital appointments cancelled, including cancer appointments, and facing food banks closing. We're arresting protesters. Just look at the anthem, God Save the King. One fictional entity that doesn't exist, saving a monarchy that shouldn't exist. Our constitution's outdated, outmoded, irrelevant, and open to corruption. Fuck it all.
Great take.
The weeping announcer, the doleful music, the slow movement of the cortege. It was all intensely choreographed. This is a difficult moment for dictatorship. The succession has now passed peacefully to the third generation of the family business, but it's a worrying inheritance all the same. This year hasn't been a good one for dictators.
This is the weird, reclusive figure who ran the world's most secretive country and did it as though it was his own private property. Looking on was his son, who's around 28, no one knows for sure. He'll take over. And this is where the money which might have been spent on better living conditions actually goes. A select few talk to camera.
I love that. So good. Yeah, overlay it with like what they have to say about DPRK. I love this. This is perfect.
It doesn't exactly sound spontaneous. Snow is falling like tears, he says. How could the heavens not cry when we've lost our general, who was a great man from the heavens?
Along with the army, the country's media is perhaps the institution most responsible for keeping their leaders in power. A myth-making factory focused around the country's ruling family. That is, for most of its audience, their only source of news.
Still, the son has the right credentials.
The elite know that they need him. They need a blood descendant for their legitimacy. Once they lose that, they're in trouble.
No one knows.
I fucking love this, dude. I love this. Shouts out to Michael Parenti Stash. Carl was right. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, mate. No laughing in line to see the Queen, yeah? How disrespectful, disgusting and rude. The MPs circled, stood in Westminster Hall, laughing at something that they seemed to find funny, while Queen Elizabeth II coughing in front of them. Shame on you both. Queen Elizabeth II, hashtag laying in rest, hashtag Westminster Hall, hashtag disgusting. How dare they share a moment of happiness? How dare they? Can you see this? Charles being booed in Cardiff Castle. Yes, I saw this. Some members of the crowd can be heard booing as King Charles and the Queen's consort arrived at Cardiff Castle. There's a lot of booing going on then. How are they going to fucking arrest all of them? Miscreants, right? They're all miscreants, right? There are ruffians about. Time to arrest them. Send out the bobbies. Is it true that in England you are forced by law to have the same haircut as King Charles? Yes, it is, bruv. Trump warns. Oh, let's look at this. Commonwealth realms consider breaking ties with the crown in wake of the Queen's
across
death.
parts of the so-called British realm, a debate about whether it's time to cut ties with the crown. The realm, made up of 14 countries plus the UK, all of these countries symbolically at least hold the British monarch as the head of state, more important even than their own elected officials. That includes Australia, it includes Canada, also the Bahamas. Ramy Inocencio is in London for us, and he's going to walk us through which countries are considering deposing the royals. Ramy, good morning.
Good morning. Queen Elizabeth's death has cracked open the gates of criticism of the crown. As for those countries in question, they're all former British colonies with tragic histories of slavery.
From Australia to the Bahamas, cannons boomed across the Commonwealth as thousands of miles away, Charles was proclaimed
King, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith.
But parts of the realm are restless. Jamaica's Prime Minister told Prince William to his face the country would be moving on from the monarchy with a referendum expected by 2025.
To his face.
Apology now, reparations now. Protesters had also demanded an apology and reparations for Britain's role in the slave trade.
What is the biggest scar on Jamaica because of the United Kingdom?
I mean, the whole idea of Jamaica is the scar, right?
Kai Hindi Andrews is the UK's first professor of Black Studies.
The Royal African Company, which was founded by the monarch, was the one company that enslaved more Africans than any other company in the entire world. I mean, the monarchy cannot be separated from slavery at all.
But countries can separate themselves from the monarchy.
From the darkest days of our past and the appalling atrocity of slavery, which forever stains our history,
like the tiny West Indies island of Barbados last November, when then Prince Charles congratulated one of the realms on breaking away and becoming the world's newest republic. A new president inaugurated, replacing then Queen Elizabeth as head of state.
As a descendant of slaves, I'm aware of a very difficult and troubled history.
Wesley Kerr is a royal historian and points out the British Empire is long gone. But to survive, the British monarchy needs to mix tradition and modernity.
Fewer people think that there will be a monarchy in the next 100 years. What do you say to that?
I get to count the millions of people out on the streets this week. I'm going to count the millions of people at the Jubilee. So I see no sign of the monarchy being in trouble.
Oh my God, most normal Britons, dude. What the fuck? The least cucked British people. Go save the fucking Queen. It's the bloody Jew, bruv. It's the Platinum Jubilee. Man, that's crazy. I'm dressed like that now, watching your stream in the queue. Show some respect. UK still think monarchy is going to make them money or some shit? No, dude. Dude, Versailles brings in more money. And we know what the fucking French did. Okay? No, there is no... That argument is bullshit. They take significantly more in funds than they actually create. The zoo makes more fucking money than Buckingham Palace. It's bullshit. It's not real. It's just that it's literally just the way things are. Okay? People hate change. Sometimes it's as simple as that. People don't like change. They like the level of comfort that it offers them. You know what I mean? That things are somehow good. And they are the same. That's it.
But it's got to prove itself to every generation.
A recent poll in the UK found support for the monarchy slipped 13 points in the past 10 years, with youth support dropping the most, from nearly 2 out of 3 to 1 out of 3.
The monarchy has lost its relevance. People are really suffering financially at
Let's
the moment.
go!
And we have...
That's what I'm talking about. The HasanAbi aids in fucking England. Rise up, mate. Rise the fuck up, mate. That's what I'm talking about. The younger generations in the UK, they know that at the top of the hour there's a 60-second ad break, and they've already taken the necessary precautions against it, right? They've done it. They've fucking done it. They've subscribed for £5 or £4 because it's September. Or they've subscribed for free with a Twitch Prime, bruv. They've done it. They've fucking done it again and again and again. Or they've gotten gifted subs. They've gotten gifted subs if they're lucky. Here's the 1 minute ad break now.
...11 days of non-movement.
We watched this already on the stream, but
King
it
Charles
bears
could
repeating.
ever
It's
be
been a
as
while.
loved and admired as Queen Elizabeth?
No, without a doubt, no.
What would you say to a critic who says the
Jata.
UK
Thank you
does
for
not
the
need
5 gifted subs there, Jata.
the monarchy anymore?
Oh, I would completely disagree, because it brings tourists in and we welcome people and we want people to come and see our history.
Banjo
And publicly,
Panks,
King
thank you for the
Charles
5
says he
gifted
supports
subs.
any realm country becoming a republic.
Yeah, notice 33%, 18 to 34. And then when you probably get up to like 60-year-olds, it's like 100%. Because old people love this shit. Old people love it. They love this shit. They don't want change.
If they want. Gail?
Got it, Romeo. He raises a lot of interesting questions. As much loved and revered as the Queen was, there are still some people that say there need to be some changes. It'll be interesting to see what King Charles does, if anything.
It seems likely that there will be more realms that will detach and become independent, but it seems unlikely that the UK is going to do away with what is a huge branding bonanza. There is a lot of tourism involved in visiting the royal residences.
Absolutely true.
We turn now to the latest on the high-stakes transition of power happening in England as King Charles begins his reign. And
I'm not going to lie, it is a little disappointing seeing American media also go along with like the monarchist lies and the monarchist line, just like repeating it across the board instead of reading them to filth and doing like touchdown dances on top of the British royal graves. You know what I mean? I really thought the media would be doing a little bit better, because this is an opportunity. What do Americans love? Why did Americans love jumping on the Russia invaded Ukraine train? Because for a brief moment, Americans could say, those are the bad guys, not us, right? And England is right there. It's fucking right there, man. You could have just literally been like, they did slavery. How fucked up is that? Why is a remnant of the fucking slavery still being championed like this? Americans love shifting the eyesore that they are on top of the global food chain over to someone else for like a brief moment. So I really thought they could have used this as an opportunity and capitalized on this and been like, look, they're the fucking colonizers, man. That's crazy. U.S. didn't do slavery? My friend, why do you think I used the Russian example? What, you think the United States didn't unjustifiably do inhumane invasions of other countries? Of course they did, just like Russia. And actually, as a matter of fact, pound for pound, way worse than Russia, because we have way more global capture. That's my point. But everybody was like, look, Russia's bad, because they were being bad, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, this was an opportunity where I thought like Americans could have at least turned around and been like, yo, look, they did it first. We learned it from them. You know what I mean? Like, they could have just turned around and been like, bro, look at that. They're so racist.
And inherits the massive fortune of the crown tax-free. Chief Foreign Correspondent Ian Pannell has the latest outside Buckingham Palace. Ian, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Wits. The eyes of much of the nation are now focused here in the capital and those final few days until the Queen is buried. But attention is turning, as you suggest, not just to her legacy, but also to what she leaves behind financially in a country that's very much in the midst of economic pain.
With the crown, Charles inherits great responsibility, but...
Is there a big Twitch event happening or something? Why? Because you see that there's only 25,000 people in here while I'm spitting hot fire? Yes, there is. There is a League of Legends tournament that OTK is putting together. That's why.
Also, great wealth. King Charles III is in line for a double inheritance, as a son and as a monarch.
There's a lot of debate about
there
whether
is
or
no
not the
drama.
monarchy is value for money. Monarchists argue...
At least not that I know of. I never know when there's drama. Like, you guys inform me of the drama when there is drama.
that they bring in money through tourism. Republicans argue that that's not really measurable and that there are lots of funds that would find their way into the public purse if we didn't have a monarchy.
The new king now has three main sources of wealth. The sovereign grant, money the UK Treasury gives the Crown to fulfil its royal duties. Last year, the Queen received $57 million. The family's private wealth, the full extent, a closely guarded secret. Then, the Duchy of Lancaster, a private estate of land, property and assets. The monarch receives its annual profits. The Queen received $27 million from it last year. The royals have never revealed the sums of their personal fortunes. The Sunday Times Rich List estimating the Queen's at $426 million.
I cannot help but feel the weight of history.
However big his inheritance, King Charles isn't legally obliged to pay tax on it, unlike everyone else in Britain, who are liable to pay 40% tax.
As king, Charles is exempt from inheritance tax on money he receives from the Queen, even when it comes to personal wealth. And I think at a time like this, when a lot of people are struggling, when you're talking about someone with such wealth...
Oh no, I went on LSF. Oh no, there is fucking hella drama. Oh no. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Is Lazan looking into the void? I did see it. I did see the void. Finn and Seer try to jump Coots during mogul money. Drama exposed. Dude, that's fucked up. Idiot, why did you do that? Adept NXT broke up, but people are making it a way bigger deal than it is. Yeah, I see what the fuck's happening here. God damn, I really am not a fucking Twitch animal. I swear to God. Motherfuckers wanted this. I thought that was a long time ago, lol. Hasan doesn't usually cover breakup drama anyways, right, boss? Yeah, no. Man, no need to dirty your hands. Yeah, no, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that with a fucking 10-foot pole, motherfucker. Change your kind about King Charles if he started Twitch streaming, asking for an old friend. Would I change my mind? Yes. You know me. I always love defending big streamers, which is why, of course, I have time and time again both defended XQC when he needs, when I think that it is like, when it's worthy of a defense, and also called him out regularly called him out so much that actually we're, I don't think, friends any longer, as a matter of fact. So, that me, I love defending my big streamer friends like King Charles. Hasan has eaten XQC's ass like no other. No, man. No. I'm always going to do the same shit that I've always done. Okay? It's not about even friendships or anything like that. First of all, friends are supposed to be able to call out friends when they think that they're doing something really fucked up or wrong. If you have a problem with that, then you are not looking for friends. You're looking for sycophants. Also, I ran the top of the hour ad break. Chatters. Put on Twitter from an alt? But why? Why say anything at all? Put on Twitter from an alt? What do you mean, dude? What, you think I haven't openly had a conversation with XQC about gambling? Are you fucking brain diseased? 12-month subscriber? Did you not watch? It had happened on camera? Think I have not tried to talk to XQC off camera too? What the fuck? You fucking idiot. God damn, dude. Y'all are so fucking stupid. Holy shit. Okay, let's get back to the Queen, bruv. We're not talking about drama. The real drama is the Queen, yeah?
That is likely to spark some criticism and some debate.
But today, even the younger royals are getting richer. Prince William, who's now the Prince of Wales and the Duke of Cornwall, will receive money from the Duchy of Cornwall. It's one of the UK's...
I think it's such a funny fucking take, by the way. Just the idea that there's something called a duchy. It's kind of funny. I don't know. XQC armies that you're a political Andy to you, calling him a Gamba addict, which is true. Yeah, I don't really care.
Largest real estate portfolios worth more than $1 billion. Last year, it turned a profit of roughly $25 million. All of that money going to the then Prince Charles at the time, who managed the state for decades. For years, the Duchy has also bankrolled the lifestyle of the next-in-line Windsors, including Prince William and Kate and Harry and Meghan for a time. But there's change of the Royal Guard coming when times are tough for millions in the UK.
Thank you.
The energy crisis and soaring inflation hitting the pockets of British taxpayers, some taking issue with taxpayer dollars supporting the monarchy and their lifestyle.
It's hard to justify that, especially when so many people are struggling. They're quite wealthy already, and I don't see why they need my taxes.
Well, Charles may have been waiting in the wings longer than any other monarch, but he hasn't had the same level of scrutiny that he's now about to face. I think not just of his finances, but every single thing that he says and does. Once again last night, caught on camera losing his cool, proving once more that filling the void left by the Queen is just going to be tough. Guys.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, mate. It's going to be tough, mate. New robbery trend known as jugging.
Time now for our GMA cover story. It's about jugging. That's when a thief follows you out of the bank or ATM, then robs you. Law enforcement officials warn the crime is on the rise. Ariel Reshef here with the story. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning to you guys, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this. Anyone who has ever withdrawn money from an ATM or from the bank may have had that paranoid feeling, you know, that you're walking around now.
Guys, there's a new type of crime. It's called It's called stealing money from someone. That's crazy, man. I can't believe that there's this. Guys, as you know, the old type of crime was when you never stole money from someone. There's a new type of crime where they're stealing money from people. It's a new meta, very new. No one has ever done this before. Dude, I fucking love that. I love that, like, news media has to, like, figure out new colloquialisms, or rather, like, shit that people say, or shit that people use, like terminology that people have been using for a long ass time. They find out about it, so they're like, wow. Stealing money too. Yeah, new one they just dropped, dude.
Now we're driving with cash. Well, now authorities say they're seeing a spike in those jugging crimes, and they're warning you not to let your guard down.
This morning, authorities with an urgent warning about a sharp rise in what they're calling jugging. Criminals lying in wait while unsuspecting victims get money out of an ATM or bank and then following them to another location and robbing them. In Austin, Texas, police say they're seeing a surge with 84 reported cases just since January and more than $500,000 in stolen property so far. Authorities there asking for the public's help identifying 2 alleged perpetrators, one seen in these photos attacking a woman outside of her house last week, the other suspect driving the car.
As the victim entered her home, thrown to the ground and drug across pavement, trying to maintain her possessions.
She was treated at the hospital for her injuries. 3 days later, Austin police say it happened again. A suspect demanding money.
How's it different than mugging? It's not. It literally is. Like, people just wait for you to fucking take cash out. It's the best time to fucking steal money from someone when you know they have money. So you just fucking camp out at an ATM and then wait until they're alone. So you go and fucking steal the money because you know they have money that they just took out of the ATM. That's it. I work in the ETM industry, and I've literally never heard of this term. New type of crime just dropped called hitting a lick, which is when someone is robbed at gunpoint and then the robber leaves. More at 11. There's a hot new type of crime called sliding. That is when you do a drive-by shooting with a gun on what the kids are calling the opposition. Find out more at 7. They're saying that the block is hot. I literally rob people as they're leaving ATMs, and I've never heard of jugging in my life. Shut the fuck up, dude.
From a man who had just left a bank, shoving him against a wall outside an apartment complex.
This is a classic song from 2005, Jug and Finessing.
I was jugging, finessing, and flexing till I ran into the plug.
That's right. This classic song from 2015. What did they know? As you can see in the song Plug by Rich the Kid featuring Kodak Black and Playboi Carti. All the way back in 2015, they knew about this new crime that was going to make its way in 2022. How did they know? Ay, ay, ay. They're going to use it in court? Yeah, did you see the PNB Rock died? He got robbed at Roscoe's. I don't know why people don't understand that. Look, PNB Rock getting robbed and killed at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles is a really sad story. But it's also a tale as old as time itself. Okay? And I remember like seeing a song from like 2014 by Game where even he was like talking about you will get fucking killed if you go to if you have jewelry on at the fucking Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. It's just like, or not even 2014. It was from 2007. Yeah. I mean, but it is like, it is a oof. Yes, he said that. Listen. The thing is, like, everybody knows if you wear fucking fat jewelry, people are going to rob you. What do I always tell the fucking weird leftists in my chat that are like, bro, what if they come after you? What if they rob you? And I'm like, what are they going to take, bro? My fucking, my shitty ass fucking $10 rings? Like, what are they going to take? Can't steal the fucking house. It's just like the car, maybe, but even then, it's like literally a walking GPS signal. So good luck with that. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, if you have incredibly valuable shit on you that is very easily sold, that you can fence like that, the house, you dumbass. Yeah, bro, people are going to come in and steal the house. What are they going to do? Put it in their pocket? You understand that, like, when you wear jewelry, that is incredibly easy to fucking steal. Snatching a chain is like a very common thing. Okay, that's $100,000 that you can shove in your fucking pocket. Can't steal a fucking house, dumbass. I can't wear Jordans? No, dude. People are not going to fucking steal your busted ass, creased ass fucking Jordans, man. Hello? There's a difference between trying to fence a fucking, trying to fence stolen shoes for what? To make a what? $20 profit versus like actually being able to sell a piece of jewelry for $60K to $100K, depending on how fucking expensive the jewelry is. We've talked about this so many fucking times. We've talked about this so many times. I don't know why people don't know where Manchester and Maine is. He was literally in the direct center of the ghetto. I mean, yeah, he's in a bad neighborhood. He is in a he's in not a great neighborhood. And he's walking around with a billboard sign at a time when, like, you know, it's super easy to fucking steal that shit. I don't know. The Gucci shirt. You guys are literally failing. Okay. Stealing Gucci shit from the storefront is infinitely more profitable than stealing my quadruple XL Gucci Hawaiian shirt that motherfuckers don't even know it's Gucci. Hello. People steal Gucci bags because that's, you know, $2,000, $3,000. You can fence it for $1,000. There's always a market for it. Anyway, ultimately, people don't fucking steal because they want nice things or whatever. People steal fucking chains because it's a meal ticket. And they end up killing people to do so as well, which is really fucked up. You gotta let the uneducated be, because you would be here explaining 2 + 2 is 4 to them forever. You've had this argument before. Yes, I've talked about theft all the time. I talk about theft all the fucking time. And for some reason, like, people just still refuse to understand it. Wouldn't people recognize PNB's chain and not buy it? No, I mean, there's fucking many different ways of fencing something like that. You can sell the diamonds and shit. Smack someone for trying to steal your stuff? Fuck no, I wouldn't. What do you mean? If someone was like, bro, give me your fucking shirt, I would give it to them. If someone is fucking robbing me at gunpoint or at knife point, why the fuck would I fight them? I'd be like, all right, take it. Have fun. That's insane. And you shouldn't try to fight people either. That's how you get killed. No hate, sounding a bit victim blaming in this context, arguing with these dummies. That's the right call. My dad got robbed at knife point and punched the guy. Spoiler, he got stabbed. Exactly. It's just so stupid. Anyway, definitely don't try to do that. Definitely don't try to defend yourself. Hood don't love you is the best advice people need to follow. People get money and want to flex it on people they grew up with that weren't as lucky. Bro, people are fucking starving out there, dude. They're going to do whatever the fuck. And, you know, one of them is definitely when you are showcasing an abundance of wealth, people are going to see that as an easy meal ticket. I know it does sound like victim blaming, which I'm not. Obviously, it's a horrific thing that happened, and it's completely unacceptable. And unfortunately, it's unfortunately a byproduct of, again, systemic racism, a byproduct of purposely underfunded neighborhoods, and no matter what happens, like the solutions to it are significantly more complex. You know what I mean? Nah, you can fight them if you always have a gun weapon with you at all times, like my friend's father. What? No, dude, what? No, you can't. It's still not right, obviously. I'm just giving you giving you the reasons as to why these things happen. So, pistol duel your assailant. Yeah, definitely don't do that. But no one who is in a good situation is out there literally robbing someone with a fucking gun, okay? HasanAbi out here acting like he didn't learn all this about stealing from playing No Pixel Lamau. Yeah, dude, I definitely learned everything about fencing and theft from No Pixel, the Grand Theft Auto roleplay server. Yes. At this point, with all the crime and lack of law enforcement doing anything, I support vigilantism. The fuck do you mean? What are you going to start popping off on random people? Dumbass. What do you mean vigilantism? This isn't the Wild West, bro. You're going to get fucking clapped. You're not John Wick. You're going to get murdered like super easily and super quickly. Oh.
Before robbing him. The suspect has been arrested. And last month, Jim Ostrander says he was followed after making a large cash withdrawal from a bank. While paying for gas, a suspect smashed his car window to steal cash from inside the vehicle.
My entire month's salary gone in a split second. I'm right now I'm speechless. I still don't even know what to say or think or do about it. These guys are dangerous.
And it's not just Texas. In Alabama in July, 2 men followed the driver of a pickup truck after he cashed his check at the bank and went to a nearby convenience store. Surveillance video shows one of the suspects breaking into the window of the truck and taking the cash. Those men were arrested.
And authorities say it's important to know what to look out for. Be aware of your surroundings at the ATM or the bank. If there's someone hanging around in the lobby or in the parking lot who doesn't look like they're occupied, that could be a major red flag. And if you do become the
I can't understand why they're making this seem like this is a new thing. I mean, this is literally just a normal and unfortunate part of existing in a city. This is a normal and unfortunate part of like living in the real world. Like, the fuck? They just took like crime that happens literally non-fucking stop and turned it into like a sexy new thing. Like, what the fuck? This is like the knockout game. You know what I mean? Oh, black teenagers are doing the knockout game. I don't think robbing is normal. Dude, it literally happens every fucking day. Whether you don't think it's normal or not doesn't change the reality that it is a normal part of everyday existence. For the record, I'm not saying it's a good thing. Obviously, it's not. It's a bad thing. Okay? It's a bad thing that needs to be solved. But of course, there is always two ways to solve it, which is by being like terrified of black people because the media is showing you like all the black people that are doing this. And it's a new thing that they're calling jugging. Okay? Or whatever the fuck. Or the other way to solve it, and you know, we got to give more money to the police who are not going to do anything. However, the real and only way to solve this problem is, of course, through economic restitution.
Victim of one of these crimes. Remember, nothing is more important than your life. Surrender your belongings. Yep. Call 911.
Always good tips there, Ariel. Thanks so much.
I work with public defenders. People don't do crime for no reason. It's either one, for necessity, or two, because they're little kids with nothing else to do. Crime is not a consequence of moral failure. Yeah.
It happens in a
smash and grab, thief, steal purse,
flash.
Truck.
Brazen thieves busting out car windows, stealing anything they can carry. Sometimes even the car itself.
Police data shows that over 10,000 cars were stolen in the city in the past year. That's an average of 27 cars stolen every day.
Megan Tapley should know.
How many times has your car been stolen? 5 times. Your car was stolen 5 times.
Bro, what the fuck? What is happening? How has your car been stolen 5 times? What the fuck? It's called jugging, and they're doing it to cars.
Yeah. What? Yeah. We decided to put this truck out as bait and leave some tempting items inside.
Bro, I love these fucking, oh my God. Inside Edition, Business Insider are just like, they're literally doing, what is it, Johnny Salads? Like the guy who drank his own piss type fucking things, like taking a MAGA car into the hood. Like they're doing bait. They're putting bait crimes. They're doing bait cars and shit.
In this $300 speaker, we're going to hide another GPS tracker and place this Apple AirTag tracker in this high-end purse.
We paid $20 to park our pickup in this gas station lot in downtown Portland. But what the would-be thieves don't know is that I'm watching the scene below from the 6th floor of this swanky hotel.
This swanky hotel.
Also below, more cameras. Now watch as this guy starts scoping out the truck. On the street corner, he procures a special tool called a glass puncher from his sidekick. Then he strikes.
It's happening. It's happening.
But the
damn, bro, this dude is failing to break this, by the way. Holy shit.
Passenger window doesn't break.
He's hit it like 8 times. It's not breaking.
Undeterred, he comes back for a second try. And boy, is he persistent.
It's chipping now. It's chipping.
He hammers away at the truck's window. 1, 2, 3, 4, 25 times altogether.
Damn, he's got the fucking smokes in his mouth and shit. That's so funny. It's just like, he didn't even take broad daylight, not even fucking hiding his face. What the fuck? What are you doing, bro?
Until the glass finally breaks, but he still can't get to our purse inside. So he smashes away with his elbow.
Broad daylight, no one's doing anything.
At last,
he put his hands on it. He put his hand on the glass. What the fuck's this guy doing?
Using his bare hands, he rips the purse out.
Okay, he's got the purse.
And calmly strolls off with his accomplice. So here's the GPS for the AirTag. Okay, the signal says our purse should be here. The GPS leads us to this apartment building, but there's no sign of him or the purse for now. But look who we do spot milling around out front, the smash and grabber's accomplice.
Did you happen to see a pink bag in a car, a white truck? We saw you on camera. Where's your friend?
He took off.
Do you typically steal stuff out of people's trucks?
I'm not going to answer that.
As for our truck,
wow, look what happened to our truck's window. That guy was...
Bro, she's so excited. She's so stoked. You're like, wow. Wow, poggers. Oh, what the fuck? No way, dude. No, we didn't watch this. This is a new segment.
Committed.
Bro, this is what the media does. They're like, look, we put out a bait car with cash in it. And it worked. Portland is wild. I lived there a decade ago. Went to the Safeway to get a sandwich. As soon as the door opens, I saw a guy get murdered.
Into the truck and stealing that purse.
we never got our purse back.
Now that you've been the victim of this kind of crime 5 times, what's the solution?
I would recommend getting a kill switch installed or an alarm system.
Welcome to America. That ain't a PDX problem. I mean, yeah, this shit does happen. The setup of this cost enough to help this homie for a month. I mean, at least he got to steal it. Hopefully he got to sell it too. He made out, dude. He made out like a bandit. Broad daylight, face very easily recognizable. He just stole it, threw the fucking Apple tag, and moved on. He literally got away with it. Has Hasan seen this? Yeah, no, I did already see this. Yes, we covered this morning. You shouldn't be leaving anything out in your car in any big city in the United States. 100%. I mean, that guy, I don't think he's ever stolen before. That dude sucked at stealing, dude. He was so bad at theft. It was wild.